pull up a chair. This is Off the Back Porch. Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer is brought to you in part by Country Village Sporting Goods. Everything you need to get in the woods, the water, or to the camp is at Country Village Sporting Goods. Jason Hardy State Farm. Like a good neighbor, Jason Hardy at State Farm is there. And Larry's Pizza in El Dorado, home of the Double Pizza Parade.
20-plus years of bringing you the most important and latest information with local happenings, news, sports, opinions, and probably an attempt at humor. Also brought to you in part by Davis Farms Country Market. For farm to table fresh, it's Davis Farms Country Market. Cook's Body Shop. Chances are it will happen. And when it does, look to Cook's. Murphy Arts District. For the latest information on concerts and events, go to eldomad.com.
Recorded live from Main Street Pizza in historic, beautiful downtown El Dorado, Arkansas. With a history of being the voices you trust. This is Off the Back Porch with Boomer and Sandy. Or Sandy and Boomer. Or two old guys you've known for a long time, whatever. And now your hosts, Troy, Boomer, Barrios, and B.A. Sandy Sanford.
Hey, and welcome to another edition of Off the Back Porch. And thank you to Johnny Dean and for that great intro, Boomer and Sandy.
Yeah, big voice guy.
It can only be Boomer and Sandy if I'm Boomer.
Yeah, but you can't be because you abuse that monetarily.
Oh, yes, I definitely do.
I was up at one of our sponsors today in the parking lot and said, I'm glad you're here. Said, Sandy, come by here and you got a charge for Sandy. I said, I am not buying tires for Sandy Sanford. No more tires for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, you bought every set up till now, so I guess I can go ahead and pay for one. Welcome to the show again, and we appreciate each of you for being here. And we are here, Boomer, first of all, at our favorite place, and that is Main Street Pizza.
Yeah.
And by the way, I ordered us a little different pizza today.
What'd you get today?
I got the meat to please with jalapenos.
I'm not about it. You put the jalapenos on it?
The jalapenos. And yet again, Boomer, another willing victim of someone who cares absolutely zero about the reputation.
Each week, amazing.
And actually approached us and with an idea for a show, and BJ Knowles. And
yes.
Now, BJ, you're probably more known, at least my first experience with you was via TikTok and maybe Facebook,
right?
And but you have a company. Y'all do like stump grinding.
Yes, stump. It's BJ Stump Removal. Because like we was talking about earlier, I was working for the Arkansas's largest mom and pop owned pest control company. Mm-hmm. It was statewide. They were founded out of McGee, Arkansas, and branched off to Russellville and went statewide. Well, he sold to a pretty good sized corporate company, and he retired, and I just didn't want to be there anymore. So I bought a stump grinding and equipment and just took off doing it, and I work all over South Arkansas with my hometown being Camden, and I grew up around El Dorado.
Yeah.
I do a lot of work in this area.
Yeah. So just because I'm ignorant, glad
you finally realized.
Well, I've been knowing. I think everybody else is figuring it out too. But
right.
But stump grinding is. I've watched the videos, and of course it looks easy.
Yes.
But that's what a $300,000 piece of equipment will do too.
Amen to that. Yes. That's
wow.
it. Yeah. It is a remote control machine. It's a 55 horsepower diesel Kohler. There's $400 worth of teeth on the cutter wheel, and so you get into a lot of expense. Towing it. It runs off diesel, $3 something a gallon. Yeah, $3 something a gallon. And
not anymore.
Yeah,
we got that Venezuelan diesel on the way.
Yeah, well, hopefully, yeah. But anyway, I do travel a lot doing that, and there's different levels to it. And I try to go for the person's budget. They may want us just to grind it and leave the trimming, leave the grind and let them clean it up for a budget. And then there's some we grind, we spread out chips and level it off. There's some we grind, we remove the trips, bring in topsoil, we plant seed. We can do it to whatever level you want to do it for your budget. And so we try to, and we work with, I work with 12 different tree service companies. And one of the best ones I work for actually is from Camden, Poison Springs Tree Service out of Chittister. And I really like those guys because they're perfectionists. They do a good job, and I get on the job with them quite a bit. And it's referral business, And
I got you.
Yeah, but now there's different types of stump grinding. My grinder will go down about 3.5 foot deep. So if you got a slab of concrete and you're wanting to build a house, you want to completely remove it.
Yeah, you want to get that up.
Right. Or if, let's say you're worried about a sinkhole, you grind it down 6 foot or 6 inches deep, cover it back up, and that's enough to get your grass growing, and it stops it from making a sinkhole for a longer period of time. So, I mean, there's different things you do. You know, this depends on
There's more to it than just cranking her up.
Yeah. Well, and what you said earlier, the grinding and the remote control makes it look very easy. But when you stop the remote control and you grab that shovel and you start,
shovel work.
Yes, and
That
you
drag
start,
line.
it drag how it gets very intense labor, and especially when you get these hot summers like we have in South Arkansas, where heat index is 112 or something like that. It don't get fun, but in being OCD like I am, it's rough I always say it's tough being an OCD stunt man.
Yeah, because it's never ending.
You got to get it perfect,
Yeah.
you know, and that's the way I try to do it.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about something's arduous or physically taxing. I think the most physical job I ever participated in was I was working for an HVAC contractor.
Right.
And anytime you have a business and you get out of your wheelhouse, that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Well, he agreed to. This person they were basically took a home down to studs, and then they built a mother-in-law quarters separate from the dwelling of the house, and they needed all new electric. And so we're going to put in a service entrance for them, but the guy didn't want power lines. He wanted it underground. So we have to dig probably about 300, 400 yards.
Right.
Oh, no.
Underground.
Yeah.
And
That's a long way.
Yes, it is. And we're not talking about boring. We're talking about digging.
Right.
You didn't have a trencher? You had
No
a shovel?
No, we had a trencher. His name was Sandy.
Shovels and wheelbarrows?
About what year was this?
This would have been about 1991 too.
Okay. Well, you know, now 811 is a big deal. And with a grinder, I have to call 811 because of underground utilities. That's another thing that you got to think about when stump grinding. You can hit gas lines, fiber optic, and they're big fines, and you got to call 811.
Especially fiber optics.
Especially fiber optic. I think it's $5,000 just to splice it. You know what I mean? So you go watch it. So I'm sitting there listening. I'm saying, what year that was he was digging this trench, you know.
So we go out there. We start one evening. I mean, like 3 o'clock that afternoon. We work till about 6 or 7, and we get from here to the wall over there.
Oh, no.
And that night, they came in and dropped 3 foot of compost on top of the ground. So we had, code was 18 inches below the surface. So now we're digging 4.5 feet, and you're digging through compost. You think that'd be easy, but it wasn't.
No.
It's full of wood and chips and roots and
Right.
all kind. So there's some guys who are bricking the new mother-in-law quarters, and been talking to them, and I actually have a grubbing hoe, busting and pulling, busting and pulling and busting and pulling. And another guy, I'd bust and pull for a little bit, and he'd get in there with a shovel and load up the wheelbarrow and take it off, and I'd get back to busting and pulling. I hit this piece of wood, and when I pull my grubbing hoe back, it stuck to it, so I just kind of like knock it off with my hand. It was full of hornets.
Oh.
And I take off running down this trench. Now, I have on no shirt. I take off running down this trench. These guys are jumping off that scaffolding because the hornets hit them too. And run out to the road, and there's a guy over there just beating my back, you know.
Right.
And
I'm sorry.
yeah. And one of them's like, "Man, are you okay?" I said, "I'm fine." And he was like, I watched you get stung 30 times. I said, I didn't get stung once. He's like, "Oh, yes, you did." And one of the other guys who was a Hispanic guy, he's like, I see the stinger go under. I see it. And I was like,
All over your back?
yeah.
Oh, my.
You never felt it?
Never felt it.
Wow.
And
Until you got home.
no, never felt it. And there were no whelps. There was nothing. And
It was some of them Jesus hornets.
there was
Yeah,
one of this,
yeah.
there was this guy that was there that we'd been talking throughout the day, you know, and he was like, "Man, you seem awfully happy for a guy who's waist deep in compost and mud." And I was like, "Man, I got Jesus,
Yeah.
so you know,
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I can be happy anywhere."
Yeah.
And he said something about, he said, "I guess Jesus kept them hornets off of you." I said, "Believe it or not," I said, "I prayed about it one day because I was all the time crawling in attics and underneath houses, and I was like, Lord, you know I hate a wasp. I don't know why you even invented them, but I hate a wasp." And I said, "I'm just going to depend on you to keep me safe from wasps." because I hate them.
So you done prayed about that, about wasps.
And so when I'm running down there and they're seeing them sting me,
You no feeling?
I not feel it. It's funny. You know, talk about, feeling. I was thinking about, and I don't know why, just the other day he came to mind. I went to college with a guy. To say English was his second language was an overstatement. He knew about this much English on the first day of school. And it was technical school. And he was learning English as he went along. His wife was helping him. And but man, you talk about a guy who struggled in class because he didn't understand. And so another guy who was very fluent in Spanish would sit there and kind of translate for him.
Wow.
And but his name was Mario. And Mario, as he was learning English, so if you'd say, "Man, Mario, that looks great," and he, instead of saying, I did my best. I've been trying to tell you.
I've been trying to tell you.
So I've been trying to tell you.
Cajun now.
And then his favorite curse word was "samba babish." Samba babish.
It must be Florida. He said "sunny beaches."
But yeah. Anyway, that's probably the most physically taxing thing I ever done. Mitchell Britton, if you're watching, back in East Texas. Britton's Heat and Air.
You think he's still in the HVAC business?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Last I knew, he had taken a job at a factory as like the head of maintenance, and which was a great job for him. Super smart guy, super smart. And but yeah, he could have went and got us a ditch witch,
but that'd have cost too much.
It wouldn't have cost as much as the two of us that was right there digging that thing for 3 or 4 days.
Ditch witch, that would have been that's what I thought it was going to turn
into. An hour or two, we'd have been done.
Yeah.
Run that thing down there and empty out the hole and be done. But
Nope.
Yeah, that was a nightmare. But
he didn't have to do it.
That's the whole thing. Yeah, Mitchell Britton.
As you're telling this story about him hitting you in the back, not feeling you, being 16 years in pest control, I only got stung once or twice. Because you're aware they're there.
Yeah.
If somebody calls you and say, "Hey, man, I got a hornet's nest over here by the house," they're there, and you're looking at what angle it's going to take to spray them and do what you need to do. In stump grinding, you don't know they're in that stump.
Down in the hole.
And God wasn't that good with me on that.
Well, you didn't pray about it ahead of time.
I'm going to do that. I was thinking, boy, I need to do some praying because I ain't got it 2 or 3 times.
The ones that come out of the ground hurt more.
Yes, they do. Yes,
they're
they
meaner.
Do. Yeah.
If you've ever been, and I know a lot of people watching this podcast has been on a tractor.
Yes,
bush hogging.
Yes,
and brother, you can't get away from them.
Well, stump grinders
you can't drive a tractor fast enough or jump off and run fast enough.
Well, stump grinder's no different, but that's where that $6,000 remote control comes in handy. I can walk all the way across the road and then watch them swarm around it and finish grinding because I've done it.
Yeah,
but I've also slung snakes out of it too.
Oh,
I've done that before.
I'm out.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm out on that.
I've done that.
Yeah.
Yep. You wouldn't be surprised at what you'd find in stumps when you go to grind them. And they're mad when that grinder busts through their house. You know what I mean?
Because they build it underground, and they're more private.
Yeah,
They're not the ones that build the big thing in the tree.
They're not doing it for show.
Right.
They're down there. They're hiding from. They've done something somewhere along the way. That they're been accused of.
Years ago at the country club, they were cutting down trees, and when the tree would die, and amazed at the number of golf balls that come out of trees. Them 90% air trees.
Yeah.
They hold 7,000 golf balls each. They'd cut one down, and I mean, there'd be golf balls for days just laying there.
I'm thinking that scene out of the Three Stooges where he shook the tree, remember, and all the golf balls fell out.
So it's like,
and he dug a trench on the putting green.
He did. Yeah.
I don't know if squirrels were just finding them and
thinking they
put them in the tree or what, but of course Tom Mangum, our good friend Teacock, he said, man, next time I know that tree company's coming out here, I'm going to go over with some purple paint and hit a couple of these other trees. get rid of them, too. Yeah. Get them out of the way.
Get them Provies out of them trees.
He just wanted them out of his way.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So, hey, again, welcome to the show. We appreciate you being here. Boomer, we have
excuse me.
We have a bunch of these to go through, and I picked 2 for this week for our anonymous inbox.
Okay.
And again, you can just go to our Facebook page and send us a message. And
but we wish you wouldn't.
No, go right ahead. I hope you do. Send us a message, and we'll try to help you. Now, just remember the disclaimer: we are idiots.
Yeah.
So taking our advice, that's on you.
Yeah, we're going to give you advice, but
Probably
take
not
it
good
at your own
advice.
risk.
So, I'm a 44-year-old mother of two. I happen to own a home in Florida right on the beach. It's an extremely nice place and was valued at $2.6 million at the time of my divorce. I rent it out from time to time, but only to friends and family I've known for a long time, and I have a pretty ironclad agreement they have to sign. It was something that I got in our divorce. My ex and I split all of our property amicably, and he didn't want the place, and I did. We've been divorced for 7 years and have been more than civil to each other, and I might actually say we are pretty good friends. I got our home in El Dorado, and he kept our home in Hot Springs. Occasionally, he's asked if he could use the place in Florida for a week and pays me generously for the use of it, although I would never charge him rent. In return, I have had use of the place in Hot Springs from time to time. Now my ex has a new love interest. I don't know how they define the relationship, but she's been around for almost a year. Recently, she called and asked if she could and her girlfriends could use the Florida home for a quote-unquote girls' trip coming up in the spring. I told her no. 1, I don't know her. And 2, I don't want to develop a relationship with her when she may not even be around this time next year. She and my ex-husband may become a permanent item one day, and if that happens, I'll explore friendship with her. Until then, I do not have the desire or the energy to allow her into my life. Now I'm getting cold stares and icy remarks from her when she and my ex are around. To make matters worse, I've recently confirmed with him a week I'm going to be staying in the Hot Springs at what is now his second home. She went off to one of her friends and was overheard by my children saying things like, oh, it's okay for her to stay in our place in Hot Springs, but I can't stay at her place in Florida.
Hold up. That ain't our place in Hot Springs.
That's the first thing I thought.
That's boyfriend's place in Hot Springs.
I have confirmed this conversation with the friend that she was ranting to. My question is, am I being unreasonable? Should I let her use the place in Florida? Am I being petty?
No.
No.
I don't think so at all.
No, not at all.
What you and your ex-husband have worked out
Has nothing to do with
has
her.
nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
Absolutely
think?
nothing.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know,
And my point goes, that is not, she said that has
Our
place in Hot Springs. Yeah.
No.
yeah, not even close.
And she said in the event that she becomes a permanent fixture in the husband, whatever relationship they choose, then she would be happy to do it on the merit that she has a good relationship with her ex-husband.
Yes.
Yeah.
And and to me, if her ex-husband called and said, hey,
Did they say who they were? Because I'm interested in going.
no, they did not say.
And I know a lot of people got places in Hot Springs.
I do too, but
But wait, she didn't say who she was?
well, I'm not going to say that.
Why not?
It's anonymous.
I mean, I might want to go to Florida.
We'll go.
Well, I can't tell me her name.
There's plenty of places that aren't hers.
Well,
that you can get in Florida.
She was letting her ex. Maybe if I knew her ex, maybe he could vouch for me.
To me, if her ex were to call and say, hey, can she use it, it'd be one thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he didn't.
He didn't
No,
do that.
no.
She did.
She did.
And it's her and her girlfriends
For a
for a
girlfriend
girls
trip.
trip. And
You said it. A girl strip.
yeah.
yeah.
Strip.
Yeah.
Gonna be some hanky panky.
You know, I will say this on that. Every night when I go to bed, I'm a big YouTube junkie, and I watch all kinds of things on YouTube. And one of the things I do like to watch is small claims courts and lawsuits, because I own a small business. You want to know what you can get into and what you need to do to prevent it or whatever. And I'm sitting there thinking, rent it to the new girlfriend and her for a girls' weekend.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. Damages, tearing
There's
up.
too much liability.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's way too much liability. Way
Yeah.
too much liability.
And do you honestly
call.
think that your boyfriend's ex-wife is going to be your top priority when you go to her house? She's not going to care for your place like he would.
No.
So
No,
the
okay.
fact that he didn't get involved
Yeah.
tells me everything I needed to know. So
Yeah.
no, ma'am, you're not being petty. No, I don't
Good
think
call.
you should have to
Good
give
call.
in. I think that's
Yeah.
a good call.
Good
That's a good call.
So a little bit of a theme with our next one.
Me going to Florida?
No. My ex-husband and I have been divorced long enough that the ink has faded. We share kids, a calendar, and a fragile peace that comes from believing everyone will stay in their lane.
Okay.
Enter his new love interest.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, here we go.
She has opinions, big ones, about pickup times, holidays, what the kids should be eating, which school events she believes requires her presence front and center, clipboard energy and all. She introduces herself like a guest star who assumes she's been promoted to a series regular. She texts me directives instead of questions. She once referred to my children as, quote, our kids, end quote, which made my eyes twitch. My ex says she's just trying to help and that I should appreciate the extra hands. I'm sorry, but anything with 4 hands is a freak. I don't need extra hands. I need boundaries with hinges and locks. I'm trying to be gracious for the kids' sake, but every interaction feels like a polite invasion. I don't want drama. I don't want to be territorial. I just want to parent my children without a stranger acting like she inherited authority along with my old living room set. How do I set limits without becoming the villain in someone else's romantic reboot?
Okay, well, let me back all the way up on this one. This is why God hates divorce.
I never heard it put like that. That's
This
good.
is why God said, and he when they had kings, they gave them, they were going to set aside women anyway. They didn't treat women but as property. And so they gave them parameters, even though he didn't want you to. And you and I both have done that. We both, I'm not criticizing people. We've both had divorces. What happens is when either one gets a new spouse, and it's usually women, because women are very territorial, and especially with children.
When kids are involved.
With children.
Right.
So the new wife of the ex-husband wants to show him that she cares about his kids, okay?
Right.
And she
And will often take ownership.
and takes ownership, and a lot of times the children love that mother too, as well, love that woman too, as well as their own mother, and it's amicable. But when you have a type A personality type mother that shows up with clipboard strength or that kind of, then there's a problem because it becomes territorial. Then these aren't your kids. To
Know
mother.
your role.
These aren't your kids. You do not get to decide pickup times and whose weekend it is and whether or not you pay the car insurance or they pay the car insurance or whether or not they, because you see it happen and it'll go back to court. So
First of all, who's the custodial parent?
yeah,
That to me that's a big thing here.
And she didn't say, but most likely it's her.
It's her.
Most likely, yeah. I will say this. My ex-wife and my wife, they get along great. And especially when it comes to the kids. My ex has told me on a number of occasions, she's like, you hit a home run. Right. I couldn't have picked a better stepmom, although we don't use that term. But I couldn't have picked another mom for my kids as well as you did. And equally, I get along great with my step-husband and my husband-in-law.
I call mine my husband-in-law.
Yeah, my husband-in-law, my my wife's ex-husband. We get along great.
Right.
If there's ever any tension in any of those relationships, it's now an adjacent person. Mm-hmm. So my ex-wife had remarried, and that guy, it was like it was his duty, he felt like, to cause some kind of drama or some kind of angst all the time.
Right.
All the time feeling like he needed to be in the middle of something. Referred to me one time, to one of my kids, referred to me as your biological father. And at which point, Micah looks him dead in the eye and said, you mean Sandy, my dad?
Yeah.
The guy who's paid for everything my entire life, who's paying for me to go to college, the guy who bought me my first car and come and got me when I had my first accident and this and that, and just goes down. Is that who you're talking about? He didn't have anything to say.
Yeah.
But wanted to refer to me as their biological father.
Yeah, like all you did was father her. And
Yeah,
then you had nothing else
I
to do.
procreated and I had nothing else to do.
Right.
But,
It'll be all right. It'll be okay.
man, hey, listen, he's off the reservation anyway.
Okay.
That didn't he didn't make the cut.
There's nothing we have to reconcile there.
No.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say
Let's
that.
go.
Anyway,
I've heard.
But yeah, to me, most of the time, that's where the drama comes in because you're dealing with people who realize, hey, we share children, and we're not just going to share them until they're 18. Mm-hmm. We're going to end up being at weddings together. We're going to end up being at births of grandchildren together. And so you do all that you can to try to
Get along.
peacefully coexist.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing that, then shame on you.
Both my parents had previous marriages. My father had one son, and my mother had 2 sons and a daughter, and then collectively they had me and another daughter. Well, the oldest son of my father's from his first marriage was like a figure of out storybook to me because
He was a hero.
yeah, he was a hero type character, and his name was Teddy. And he would show up, and I would just be in awe of him because he was already a grown man, and I came along 17 years past, younger than all the older ones. So in 1965, Teddy died in an airplane crash, and we all drove to Houston and attended the funeral, and they went through the whole thing, and I didn't. I was still young. I was 8 or so, and they didn't mention my dad one time.
Really?
Didn't mention Ted Barrios, the father of Teddy, and so the pastor came up to my dad after and introduced himself, and he said, no one told me that his biological father was here. Now, he said, it doesn't matter. Ted he wasn't like that. He said, it doesn't matter. Well, it broke his heart.
Of course it
that
did.
At his son's funeral. Anyway, so that's the kind of things that happen when people are mad about things, and invariably, I've gone through it with myself, with some of my kids, or one of my kids. It's hurtful. It breaks hearts, and it's not what God intended. And that's why I said God hates divorce. He wants you to love once and love forever. But you know what? But He allows for it. Because we're living in a fallen world, and He allows for it. And
but it doesn't. Divorce doesn't disqualify you.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
From being used or being a servant.
No. Yeah, it doesn't disqualify you at all. Although some religions try to.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I said, well, what about the fellow that you can't be a deacon because you've been divorced? But what about the fellow that cheats on his taxes or his wife? Is he okay?
Is he okay?
Because I know one of them that is and has.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, but to answer her, how do you set limits without becoming the villain in someone else's romantic reboot? I think first you have to start with your ex.
That's what I was going to say. Start with the ex-husband, and maybe have a private talk with him first.
If we're going to communicate,
right.
I'm not going to communicate.
Right.
And if I have something with her or she has something with me, it goes this way, not this way.
This is where it started.
Me and you.
That's right.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
These are our kids.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you definitely have to start with him, and I think you also have to, because I can see from his standpoint, he's like, hey man, she's just trying to help.
Yeah.
I get that.
He sees that as help.
He sees that as help.
Right.
But I think if you put that ball back on his side of the court and say, okay, so if I date
Joe Blow,
random guy, and he starts calling the children you fathered our kids, and he starts telling you when we're going to meet to swap them over, and whose house they're going to be at for Christmas,
and where they're going to go on vacation,
and by the way, what they should eat, and he starts showing up at all the school events, introducing himself as their dad.
Might be looked at a different pair of eyes.
You're going to be okay with that.
Yeah.
You're going to be fine with that. And I think that would that may be what would get him to understand that this isn't okay.
Yeah.
And the fact is, she's his romantic interest. You didn't call her his fiance. You didn't call her his wife. She has as much right to those children as I do, whomever they are.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think you have to start with your ex.
Yeah.
Now
definitely.
again, we're idiots, so maybe do the opposite of what we say.
No, that's pretty good advice.
That is pretty good advice.
All of that was good advice.
Yes.
Who knew?
Except me getting to go to their condo in Florida.
Yeah, I was waiting. You was talking about the idiot and all this stuff. I was like, well, no, these guys are giving pretty good advice here. They're doing pretty good. But
just wait.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute.
You're going to let me down here in just a minute. Okay.
One of my favorite sayings is a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah.
I like it. That's your shirt.
So there's my 2 times for today to give good advice. Right. All the rest of the advice for this part of the show will be bad. It'll be terrible.
Yeah, we hit it on 2 things.
Hey, incidentally, since we last had a podcast, I called Boomer the other day and I said, hey, them Peruvian priests, they got one right. So these Peruvian priests, they make these predictions they get high on ayahuasca. Okay. And then they make these predictions for the upcoming year and have been right more often than they've been wrong.
It's scary.
Well, one of the things that
listen to this.
They said would happen in 2026 was that Nicolas Maduro would not finish the year as president of Venezuela.
Okay.
they either got high and had a revelation, or had some inside information?
Either or. Both.
Either or, they got it right.
They got it right.
Right.
I called Boomer and said, well, them Peruvians, they marked off that one on their
Yep.
on their bingo card
Right. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
2026. But, we went in and basically just strategically and methodically walked in, grabbed him, walked out, and away we went.
Well, that's because Nicaragua, Venezuela had the Minnesota police down there guarding things.
Minnesota. All the Somalians?
Yeah. Yeah, they brought them too.
Yeah,
They
I think all kidding aside, I think the Venezuelan army is mainly made up of Cubans and ISIS.
Cubans and ISIS, yep.
Yeah. So, but we went in, grabbed him up, and left. And I love the people on TikTok. This is not okay. There was a grown ass man, crying on his TikTok about this is not okay.
That's because they listen to all the rhetoric.
Military action without congressional approval.
This is not military action.
First of all, it was a police action.
It was a police action.
The military was just there to support the police. Mm-hmm. But secondly, remind me, who was the president that lit up more of the Middle East with drone strikes than any president?
That was Obama.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you remember any congressional approval over that?
No, you don't have to have that if you're a Democrat. It comes
have to have
automatically.
That, you don't have to have that, period.
Yeah, no, but if you're
as
a Democrat,
commander-in-chief.
in Democrat, you don't get any ramifications for it.
But I don't care about Democrat or Republican. The idiocy of, you can't do this. This is wrong. Orange man bad.
Yeah, Martha has gained a campaign of, I cannot stand idiots. And
oh, bless her heart.
Oh, man,
because she lives with you.
Oh, that hurts so bad.
Nary damn apples.
No, and we had some apples yesterday. She said, I didn't see what kind these are. I said, that's them nary apples. but I lost my train of thought. You just wrecked me.
She can't stand idiots.
She can't stand idiots. We had a situation going yesterday with our insurance, and the idiot that screwed it up was me.
Okay.
My goal, my order from her was to get us some drug coverage, part whatever that is, D or whatever. Mm-hmm. So she had talked to a friend, and it said something about, well, this one's good. So I said, okay. So I go in there and I go online. First thing I went online and I get a call, because I picked, if you pick the top things on Google, that's all ads. Mm-hmm. You got to scroll on down, and I did. Anyway, I said, no, I got it. I'm online. I'll do it. I'll take care of it. She goes, well, I'll be willing to help you to get it written up. I said, no, I got it. I'm already there. So I'm trying to get a drug plan, and what I did was the whole shebang. I went on the Advantage plan and got everything, and it canceled. It was about to cancel my Blue Cross Blue Shield, and Martha says, Troy, my deductible is $11,000. And she says, no wonder it's zero pay.
Yeah.
So anyway, we spent 4 hours from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock correcting my mistake and talking to people who really didn't have a good command of the English language.
Ooh.
And it wasn't until the 11th hour, right at the end, that we got a hold of an agent, and they finally sent us to an agent, and we were able to cancel what I had done, even though it's outside of the sign-up period.
Yeah.
And she just did the drug plan and did everything through my phone, sent me the application. I signed it and sent it back and did all that through the phone, through Martha's phone, and asked us all the questions. Because she says, well, didn't y'all do that? At first she says, couldn't y'all just do this through the internet? And Martha says, well, we did that and it didn't work out so well. She didn't want to tell the lady, says, my husband screwed that up. Yeah. She said, I'd rather just do it with you over the phone. She said, okay, it's going to take a while. So anyway, yeah. Yeah, she's because they were reading from a script.
Oh, of course.
If you don't, and Martha couldn't understand what she was saying, and she couldn't understand what Martha was saying, and so it was no communication. And so it took like 3 hours for them to communicate that we just wanted to cancel all that. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, I don't understand how he would have trouble speaking to Martha. She speaks perfectly fluent Southernese.
She does, and she calls darling and honey and sweetie, and I love you. Okay.
Yeah. But going back to the whole Venezuelan thing, and that is, it's all about the oil. Of course it is.
Of course it's about the oil. They were giving it to China and Russia.
Bingo. So here's the thing.
Plus, we need that light crude.
Well, that's not light.
That's the dark. I mean, we
Yeah.
got the light
Yeah.
from West Texas.
That sweet West
we need
Texas.
that dark
yeah.
crude.
This is that dark. This is that tar.
Heavy.
Yeah. But here's the thing: 64% of all of Russia's oil comes from Venezuela.
Yeah, we got to stop that.
Well, that ended. That's over. 100% of Cuba's oil came from Venezuela.
We're going to stop that.
That
too.
stops. Now,
because he said we're going to run it.
if Russia can't get oil, then what does that mean for them?
They got to pull out of.
They can't. You can't go to places like the Ukraine. You can't continue to fight fights in other countries if you have no oil or diesel to run your machines and to run those things. Incidentally, at the same time, Iran is in a total turmoil over the last week. I don't know if you've seen what's going on, but
the people are revolting.
The Ayatollah he's hijacked. He's out.
Yeah.
Nobody knows where he's at. The Shah he's like whipping up frenzies from wherever country he's in, and I mean people are calling for his return. Obviously not the Shah from the 70s, but this is
that Shah.
the new one. And I mean they're ripping the gates off of government buildings, and Iran could be by the time we finish this podcast, Iran has fallen. 70% of China's oil
comes from Iran.
So if China doesn't have oil, what can they not do? They can't go to Taiwan. They can't go invade Taiwan. They can't win the AI game.
Yeah. We've got to win that.
Now, TikTok may shut down.
It's all right. We can do without TikTok.
I can do without TikTok if it means China has no oil.
Yeah, exactly.
And now, I don't wish any ill on the people of China. I don't. They're children of God just like I am. And I just... But
communist.
Just to see communism fall yet again in my lifetime would be tremendous.
It is.
It would be a coup unlike any other. And so say what you want to, Orange Man bad or whatever, but very, very calculating what's been going on. Very calculated. You know, his biggest... Someone asked him yesterday, said, what's the difference between... Because I'll be honest, I get really nervous when we start talking about nation building.
Yeah,
I didn't like the idea when we did it in Iraq.
Yeah, we were doing it 40 years ago. We were trying to do it all over in the Middle East.
All over anywhere, and I didn't like it then, and I'm a little nervous about it now. But someone asked President Trump, "What's the difference between this and George W. Bush with Iraq?" And he said, "First of all, I'm running this. George W. isn't. That's the first difference." And he said, "Secondly, he didn't keep the oil."
Yeah.
And that was the thing. Donald Trump, who was against that war in Iraq from the beginning, once we were there, said, at least keep the oil.
And we didn't.
And the problem is, and the problem has become in Venezuela, for example, when Chavez nationalized, Petroleum de Venezuela, and they didn't have anyone there who knew how to run the refineries.
Exactly.
And that's what happened in Iraq.
Chevron and all them guys were out.
They left. And in Iraq, they didn't have anyone who knew how to run those refineries either. And so what happens? China comes in. We have people.
Yeah.
We have people who can. And Russian scientists and engineers came in, and we let them. That's the bad part. We let them do that. And had we kept the oil, but, it was the whole rhetoric back then was blood for oil, blood for oil, blood for oil. And, I mean, we can look back now and realize that the whole Iraq decision was a cluster dumpster fire, to put it mildly. It didn't have to be, though.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't think that's what's going to happen in Venezuela. Now, here's my other concern, however, is that's great for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
But what happens
if
the pendulum swings the other way politically? What happens?
Yeah.
What does that president then come in and do with Venezuelan oil?
Yeah. That's kind of the Achilles heel of not our Achilles heel, but the pendulum of our government. If it's bad, we've only got 4 years of it and we can change it. and then it can swing back and forth. But let me give you two things.
But the problem to me is that pendulum swings wide.
Yeah, it does swing wide.
It's never just a small movement.
Yeah, because we don't have a lot in the middle right now. We have everybody pushed to the edges.
I think the closest we came was going from George H.W. Bush to Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
That was probably the smallest pendulum swing we've ever
But
seen.
Bill Clinton, they walked him in one time and got him straight, and he came back out, and all of a sudden we were thinking about a balanced budget, and so. But let me give you two things to back up what you said. In the early 70s, my oldest brother was an engineer and was in Venezuela and was drilling wells in Venezuela. And he said there were guys with assault rifles on the derricks, on the floors, guarding them. The other thing was, fast forward to the 80s, and the company that he was working with contracted a drilling company that drilled all their wells. And they had a joint thing with China. China came in on one of their rigs, and he told me, he said, China can't build anything. He said, but they can measure it and duplicate it. And he says they weren't given the plans to that rig, but they were told they could observe it and look at it and do anything. And they went and measured every little pin, everything on that rig to replicate it so they could take it back to China and build their own. And so, the I don't know what the word will be. I'm losing the word. The way that China does it is they have the force to do it and the will to do it.
Here's I think what most people, and certainly not trying to get in a deep philosophical political debate, but I think what most people forget about China, it's one of the oldest civilizations on earth. They don't think like we think because Americans, we want instant gratification.
Yeah.
We want it to happen. We want it to happen now.
A decade's a long time for us.
A long time for us. To China, 600 years is not a long time to them. I mean,
nor Afghanistan, nor Iran, nor Iraq.
Right.
So.
Yeah. China plays the long game.
Yeah.
And they realize it may take us 500 years, but they build their plan in 500-year increments. I mean, that's just what they do.
And all of them are shooting for us.
Oh yeah,
they're wanting to dominate us.
They're all coming for us, and that's fine.
We ain't gonna be here in 500 years.
I won't be.
I won't.
And the thing is
I doubt it.
Any offspring of mine that are here 500 years, they won't even know who I was.
That's it.
I will be totally forgotten in their
In
memories.
50 years, they won't know who you are.
Pretty
Isn't
much.
that something?
Pretty much. It's sad, isn't it? So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have more of Off the Back Porch right after this.
Experience, courage, common sense. All of these are traits we want in any elected position, but especially in the man we will pick as our next sheriff. Michael Fife hasn't just been in law enforcement for 30-plus years. He's the one who answers the call in the middle of the night, putting himself last and Union County first, looking folks in the eye, doing what's right, standing up for all of us. Vote for Michael Fife for Union County Sheriff.
Country Village Sporting Goods has a little bit of everything you need to get you to the water, the woods, or to the camp. Coming soon, a new shipment of creek boats. Every year we sell out fast. Get yours ordered today. It seems like we're always unboxing the latest and greatest in lures and tackle. Come check out new colors, new styles, and the latest technology making rods lighter and reels easier to cast. Cruise through our vast selection of camo clothing, coveralls, overalls, boots, outerwear, and more. All at Country Village Sporting Goods, 965 Smackover Highway in El Dorado.
Anyone can be so curious.
Get ready to see the world more curiously because Blippi is coming to your hometown. The Be Like Blippi Tour. Join Blippi and Mika live on stage for a one-of-a-kind interactive adventure that inspires kids to move like, play like, and explore just like Blippi. Saturday, April 11th, the First Financial Music Hall in El Dorado. Tickets are on sale now at eldomad.com. Break out your orange Blippi glasses for an unforgettable experience that encourages kids to be like Blippi.
New year, new you? Help your resolution with our friends at Davis Farms Country Market. Make family meals a priority this year with the new take and bake side dishes like potato casseroles. Pack lunches with fresh boar's head, sliced deli meats, or cheeses. Make dinners great again with true farm-to-table fresh ingredients from Davis Farms Country Market. 4523 Junction City Highway or call 870-639-1323.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer. And Boomer, we are here at Main Street Pizza, and we got a little different order this week. We ordered something a little different.
I ate some and it was good. What was that?
That was the
jalapenos.
Meat to please, added jalapenos to it.
Very good.
It was very good. Very good.
I had an envoy, an envie.
Envie. Yeah.
For some
jalapenos?
For some jalapenos, yeah.
Yeah, you can have envie for some ice cream next.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show. Our special guest this week, BJ Knowles, and BJ. We talked about your how you make a living.
Yes.
But actually, you're here to talk about something totally different, and you are a professional bass fisherman.
Yes. I fished more of a regional tournament angler. I've been fishing with the American Bass Anglers, ABA, I believe since 2016, and. I don't know if you're familiar with pro bass fishing, but Aaron Martins, did you know who he was? He had the most second places. Well, I'm considered the Aaron Martins of the ABA. I have come in. Matter of fact, I've yet to get an Angler of the Year title with them, and I've had, I think, 4 second places now. And last year I lost by 3 points.
Oh, my.
I'm leading right now this year. And their league is different. They start in September for the 2026 season, and we go through to June, which is where the championship is. The state championship will be.
All right.
And so right now I'm in the lead again.
Okay.
And thing about it is, if there was a fantasy fishing league for the ABA, I would not want you to bet on me because I'm a gambler and I'm gonna do some off the wall stuff. May jump a sandbar, get over in the back water area or something. I mean, I just whatever I think I can do to try to win. I'm gonna go for the win. I'd never look at points overall.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be more of a gambler. So I wouldn't put BJ in that fantasy fishing league if he was there. But I have had a lot of matter of fact, as of right now, the November tournament was on Grish Ferry. I lost by 3 ounces. December I lost by 7 ounces. So I've already had 2 second places already.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know if I'm a second-rate fisherman or what, but I just keep getting second place. Yeah.
Well, look, second place is not bad.
No, it's not bad. Not bad. Consistently, it's not bad, I don't guess.
Yeah. So let me ask you: in Arkansas, you're fishing for largemouth.
Yes.
Where's your favorite largemouth lake in Arkansas?
People ask me questions like that, and I've always say wherever they're biting at. I want to go to where I can have the most fun, and it's conditional. I do have favorites. Being raised in Camden, Arkansas, my dad was one of the original first Federation Nation anglers. And, of course, I was raised with bass fishing. I was in a boat probably before I was even old enough to really be in a boat. And once he got away from the tournament angling, he done a lot of fun fishing. Mm-hmm. And he loves Champagnon Creek out of Hampton, Arkansas, down a dusty gravel road down there. It's got a concrete ramp and everything. But when I took off doing my thing with it, and I actually bought my first ever bass boat off Main Street down here from Glenn's Marina.
Yeah.
Right across the road from Bird.
And
that's where my first bass boat ever come from. I drove over here and bought it from Glenn's, and I still look over that building and remember it because they really took good care of me. But we spent a lot of time on the Ouachita River. And then we spent a lot of time at White Oak Lake.
Okay.
White Oak especially.
A lot of White Oak Lake. But then Columbia and Lake Erland was a big one. Mm-hmm. And I guess Lake Erland, I would have to put it more of my favorite, number one, because it was one of my dad's favorite lakes. He won a huge tournament there one time. It was an Easter Seals tournament. And he won a boat, motor, and trailer. You can go back at my Facebook and see this. And him and all his buddies, they couldn't figure out how he was going to get this boat, motor, trailer home. So 5 or 6 of them lifted this thing up, put it on top of his other bass boat, and strapped it in. And he was pulling it with a Jeep CJ7 it was a 1983 model that he bought from Jordan Pontiac there off California Street in Camden. And I found a picture of it in a photo album the other day, and I put it on Facebook to show that he had put a boat on top of another boat. It was some real Jeff Foxworthy stuff. But they got the boat home, and then later on he took the boat to Spoon Bend to our deer camp and had it chained to a tree to use it for duck hunting. And somebody cut the tree down and stole the boat.
No!
But anyway, I would have to say Lake Erland would be one of my favorites. I love the Arkansas River. That's a favorite of mine. I'm more of a river fisherman. But as of the years went by, I have developed into, like I was saying, the second place there at Ouachita, me and the guy that both had 18 pounds and some change, first and second. and he caught a 6-pounder right there in the very end that got me by 7 ounces. And so in some ways you say that I outfished him by skill and size, but then again he lucked up, caught that big one. But then again, I've been the one that's lucked up, caught that big one, so I'm not going to throw it that direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like if I'm gonna play fish and enjoy fishing, give me cypress trees and give me an oxbow lake.
There you go.
And that's what I want to do to have fun.
That's not fast moving, and you got a lot of trees to fish around.
Right. On the way down here, I was thinking of a favorite fishing memory of mine, and Scotty Fife and Wayne Fife lived here in El Dorado, and they rented an apartment down here off Main Street. It was a duplex there. They were the first one on the left. And he got me and Scotty out of bed one morning. We were real young. I don't remember how old we were. And I remember us going to his grandparents, getting the boat. We went to Morro Bay and rode the ferry over. And we went to Lake Perigee.
Yeah.
Which, at the time was not, it was a dirt road to get there. It wasn't gravel. And my dad was a killer with a tiny torpedo.
Yeah.
And I remember having
a tiny torpedo.
Yes. I had a Johnson cast a country mile reel. At that time. The drag wasn't set good. And this bass blows up, and I set the hook. Of course, it dragged out, and I lose the fish. And I remember Scotty bragging me all the way back to El Dorado how I set the hook like a girl, and I lost that fish.
Yeah.
But and I don't know what made me remember that, but I remember riding the ferry over there. Do you remember when the ferry?
No,
it was gone.
It was
before
gone
Sandy
before I
got
got
here.
here.
It was still here when I was here.
Okay. So do you remember a year that they?
Gosh, I moved here in '89.
Okay.
So it was in the early '90s when they took the ferry
somewhere
out.
in there, yeah. Because I remember Scotty was working for Vance Hardware that was over here. Yeah, that was his uncle.
Okay.
And he helped build the bridge.
That went over
to do away with the ferry. The ferry's still there at Morro Bay, by the way, which is a good fishery. If you think about El Dorado and fisheries, you got Callion out here. It goes into the Washita River, and then you got that stretch of Dead River down there, and what's the name of that famous creek down there? I'm going blank. It's off the Dead River. I'm
lost.
Yeah, both of us was like that a while ago. But that area, the Morro Bay, Felsenthal, of course, Columbia or Erlin's not far from El Dorado. And then, of course, you get over into Little Bay and Hampton, Champenois Creek. So there's a lot of good fisheries.
I've never been up to Champenois Creek, but I want to go up there.
It's a tannic color water, almost black.
Yeah.
And there's an old school bait called a wobblehead, which is a bent piece of metal. And it's deadly there in the hot summertime.
I use wobblehead in the summertime.
Yeah. A guy named Jim Dillard, which was a FLW pro that he roomed with me quite a bit, bought that company.
The Wobblehead
Company. And I think they stock them in some of the tackle stores here in El Dorado.
They do.
Yeah,
they do.
They still do.
And it's got to be hot, and it's got to be next to a tree.
Exactly. Yeah. It's an oxygen thing, and I don't know if it looks like a snake or a eel or leech or something. Yeah. But it does have that wobble to it. But now your newer schooler fishermen, they call a wobblehead the biffle bug. Deal. They call that a wobblehead.
Okay.
And which is, to me, it's not a true wobblehead. To me, that piece of metal was a wobblehead.
That red wobblehead that I had and put the wobblehead worm on them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now, my son-in-law and I had a camp at Felsenthal for almost 20 years, and I sold it a couple of years ago. But my son-in-law and I were in the old river in Felsenthal fishing trees, and we were seeing activity everywhere.
Yeah.
Fish were... And we could not get a bite to save my soul.
Right.
Could not get a bite. I mean, we were throwing it on top of them. And finally, one of us hung a tree. And we went up there and reeled up to that tree. Well, all the crawfish were molting.
Right.
And they were hitting those crawfish on them trees.
That's right.
Well, they didn't have to bite anything we had. We put a crawfish on there, and they still wouldn't bite it. But, But all that backwater from Felsenthal, man, and Sandy and I, we love to brim fish, and we have caught a lot of brim at Felsenthal.
Yeah, right.
Now, so you mentioned that heading tiny torpedo.
Yes.
I have loved a tiny torpedo since I first learned how to fish. But also, I think my go-to, when it seems like I can't cast anything else worth a dang, I can always use a rattle trap.
Yeah.
I love a rattle trap.
Yep.
Bill Lewis lure rattle trap. So years and years and years ago, like back in it was the early 90s, my college roommate and I, we went to this boat and fish show and there in Houston. And I was telling him about when I was in high school, I worked for Coca-Cola, and we would deliver ice and Cokes and stuff down to all these little stores in the marinas around Toledo Bend Lake. And so there's not a marina at Toledo Bend I haven't been inside at some point. And I told him there was this one down at this little town called Yellow Pine. And I said, old boy figured it out. One summer, his niece, who was in college at Stephen F. Austin in Nacogdoches, Texas, I guess her family lived maybe in Alabama or Georgia, and she didn't want to go all the way back and then have to come back. She wanted to know if she could work for her uncle at the bait store. And just so happened, she's 18, 19 years old, good looking.
I see what's happening.
Good looking girl, and she come up there in a pair of shorts and half a shirt, and all of a sudden, this old boy figured out all these old fishermen
sales are going up.
What are they biting on today?
Yeah. That's what they come in. Well, she's like, I'm not supposed to say anything.
I've been holding them back.
But you see, there's one pumpkin rattle trap over there.
Yep.
And as soon as they buy it, she go back in the back and get one more and hang it up there again. So she made, the old boy that owned that marina ended up telling us, she made more in tips. Because those guys get out there on the water and they'd catch something and they'd run back up there and give, now this is the 80s,
Yeah, oh yeah.
And they'd run up there and give her a 10, or a 5.
Men are so foolish.
Yeah, they are.
They're so foolish.
So stupid.
Yeah.
And so the next year, he said, hey, any of your sorority sisters want to come over here?
He's going to load them up.
He bought a single wide and pulled it in right behind that store. Didn't charge them a penny's rent. They could live there, work at the, and man, you go in there and there'd be 3 Charlie's Angels models in there.
A brilliant strategy.
It is.
Oh, well, so I'm telling my roommate this, and we go to the boat and fishing show, and the rattle trap people are there.
Yeah.
And I'm telling them, and I was telling him about the place and they was like, Yellow Pine Marina, the #1 rattle trap dealer in America. They said, no one has sold more rattle traps than that place. And I was telling, and they were like, oh, yeah, we knew his strategy,
Yeah.
Said, when he's calling our salesman who used to drop in like every 6 weeks, and he's calling him after 2 weeks saying, man, you better get here. I'm going to be out of lures.
Yeah.
Let me tell you where else they figured that out. Regional airports, fuel sales.
Oh, yeah?
There's always a good looking, and back when I was flying a lot, there was always a good looking woman selling fuel.
Right.
The other place is you can see it at Hot Springs today. If you pull your boat up there to get some fuel, there's going to be a girl in a bikini.
Oh yeah,
the girl that runs out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
men are stupid, I must say. We're so stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, rattle traps and man, just from any size.
But I had a good fisherman tell me, I said, man, what should I use? He says, what do you feel confident in?
Yeah.
Throw that.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the fish can, just like a horse can tell, I believe fish can tell too.
H&H double spinner, willow leaf.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
you throw
it's just a matter of picking the right color.
Well, throw one of those and you can cover a lot till you see where they're biting. And I mean, that's what fishermen do.
That's right.
So.
Yeah.
But nowadays, you watch fishing shows on, and it's all they're in a graph.
Right.
They're throwing to a specific spot. And
Right.
It's,
and I get it, and
Yes.
that's great, and that certainly shows that you have to be able to decipher what you're seeing to get on them.
Still need to know where they're
Right.
suspended at, what the weather's like, what the barometric pressure is.
Right.
I don't have that much time when I'm fishing.
Right. Well, in the technology you're talking about, I always say it'll show you everything you ain't gonna catch too.
Yeah.
It'll show you that.
That's right.
If it ain't happening, it ain't happening.
Yeah, you
And-
can put it in their nose and leave
Oh yeah, they ain't gonna touch it.
We, as he talked about, and sometimes it's just a matter of a few feet.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
one of our favorite stories to tell is it was 4th of July, and we're down at Felsalt. Hot, man, it was hot on that water, and we're out there before noon. We're out there early, and it was already hot, and we're sweating like a crooked preacher in an IRS audit. And man, little breeze comes up, a little cloud cover. Oh, this is nice. We ain't caught squat. I mean, we may have caught 3 brim all morning.
Right.
And all of a sudden, the bottom falls out. And I mean, it's pouring. We are way too far to try to run
Trying
back.
to make a run for it. Yeah.
So we're just, there we are. And I look over at Boomer at one point. I said, dude, something's got to change. I mean, I had on cargo shorts and water's coming out.
Yeah.
So much water's running down my back, it's filling my pockets up and it's coming out of my pockets.
Right.
And I said, I got water running down my coin slot. I said, we got to figure something else. And he said, well, I'm going to try to get us maybe just over here under these willow branches a little closer to the bank. And we literally moved from there to there.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 feet maybe.
Right.
And we couldn't get them in the boat
Couldn't
fast
stop
enough.
catching them.
Right.
I mean, just
right.
We were just right on top of them.
Right, right.
And we learned, sometimes it's just a matter of a few feet there, and you get them.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I learned with my wife is if she says, I think we need to fish right over there, you just better listen. I said, because she's got an innate sense. She's been brim, and she loves to brim fish, and she get mad at me if I brought my bass poles with me while she's brim fishing.
Right.
But you better listen to her because that's where the bed was going to be over there. So anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'd get out there, and I'd say, man, smells like cucumbers. That's either a brim bed or a water mock. One of the two. So,
cut grass.
Yeah, bad toss up. Yeah.
But
my wife's like that. I can't tell you how many times she's been pre-fishing with me, for a tournament. And she'll go to digging in the tackle box and disarraying all my stuff, and all of a sudden she'll come up with the craziest, goofiest looking color, and I can't tell you how many times this has happened. I said, Robin, they're not going to bite that. It's not that time of year. You need to leave it alone. And I'll be danged if she don't start catching them. And then you never hear the end of it.
Oh,
and
no.
She tells you all where the fish are at and everything,
Yeah.
So.
I think my wife, if I'm not mistaken, she was an All-American in high school angling.
Oh, yeah.
And she's a fantastic fisherman. And I had been telling her for years I wanted to take her to fish for some sand bass, white sand bass.
Right, yeah.
They're white smallmouth, and they're no good to eat. They're
Right.
terrible to eat.
Right.
I'd taken Boomer a time or two, and one day we didn't catch hardly 4 or 5, and the next day we caught like 90.
Yeah,
you
right.
know. But I take her, and we end up back in this oxbow, and that the only reason we were able to get there is it had flooded, and we got in there, and we actually had to jump a stump or jump a log to get back to it, but we got in there. Man, we're on. I mean, old blue and chrome rattle trap and just yanking them. She pulls one in, and it's the biggest sand bass I've ever seen in my life. This thing is huge.
Yeah.
And weigh it 5.25 pounds, and I'm like, I told her a sow will get up about 4 pounds, and what makes them so fun is they fight like a crappie.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And they fight so much they're basically almost dead by the time you get them in the boat. And so we throw it back because, again, they're no good to eat. And I don't know, we're sitting at the house a few days later, and she says, wonder what the state record is in Texas for a sand bass. I said, it's probably 7-8 pounds. She looks it up, 5.15 pounds. We threw a state record back. So 2 weeks after that, we were down on Sam Rayburn. Now, you ever fish Sam Rayburn?
Yes.
My gosh, what
a fishery. Yeah.
What a great. Now, the only thing I'll say about Sam Rayburn and Toledo being both, it's the only place I've ever been in my life that you can be in 90 foot of water and see stumps.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Standing timber. Yeah. Yeah.
And but man, if you get to Sam Rayburn, you can find some spots where it's nothing to get in there and hook 4 or 5, 6, 6.5 pounders in a row.
Right.
Biggest fish I ever caught in my life. Well, second biggest fish ever. Biggest fish I ever caught in my life was 7 pounds, but I can't tell you where that was because it's illegal.
It was inside a fence.
It was inside a hatchery, but
No.
but I did catch one a little over 6 pounds down at Sam Rayburn, and man, we went to this area that yesterday was dry,
Right.
and today it was flooded. The water had come up that much, and we got up there and just trolled up, and I'm basically throwing on top of the ground and then scooting a worm out. And oh my gosh, I couldn't have been in 2 foot of water when that bass hit. And I thought at first, I was like, it has to be a gar or something because the way the way it bit and fought but it's trying to run up there. And finally got it in the boat, and man, what a nice fish. Let me ask you this: you ever see these TikTok videos of these guys fishing? Of course, first of all, I can always tell if it's a foreign one. Because they'll pull up a fish this big and like, and I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But what is the deal? What is the trend with these people who cast and their drag is set? They get a bite and it just rings like a bell.
Yep.
And I don't understand, man. Set your drag.
Well, now, this last tournament in Washita, I had to fish an 8-pound test line. Of course, I'm in gin clear water. gin clear. And I was fishing probably about 50, 60 feet down. And I found
That's a long way to pull a bass.
And with 8-pound test line, they're going to break off real easy.
Yeah.
And if you go to heavier test line, it's less bites because it kills the action to the bait. And so, matter of fact, I think I got one of them on TikTok right there where I had broke off one, lost one, and I'm catching this fish. It was one of my most recent TikToks, and I'm reaching for the dip net, and this fish is jumping out of the water, and I'm trying to hold him down, but I can't horse him because I got 8-pound test line.
Yeah.
And I had a buddy of mine from Camden, which is a big Washita River fisherman. He's like, why are you fishing 8-pound test line? Man, I'd be 25 big game, and I'd just sling him on the boat. Well, you're trying to drop that bait down there, and it's going to sink quicker, with 8-pound test line. And plus, you're fishing fluorocarbon, which is a little bit more sensitive and easier to break. And you got to babysit that line very well, too. But that is when you get into highly pressured fishing situations, you do have to bring your town pest line down, in order to get bites. And there was a guy, Skeet Reese from California. Yeah. He lost several fish there in a row in an Angler of the Year tournament against Kevin Van Dam one time, and he broke off several. And he said it was better for me to have a chance
to catch them
than to not have a chance at all. Yeah. Because he was fishing very light line. They were on the Alabama River, I believe, if I remember right, and he broke off several. But he wouldn't have got those bites if he didn't go to that pound test line. So there is a strategy to that.
Yeah, I'm just watching and I'm not talking about tournament fishermen, just guys who are, out there on the water.
Yeah.
And especially I've noticed, especially people who are fishing for smallmouth.
Right.
It's like that drag.
Well, it's like he says, they're using lightweight tackle.
And you have to have the drag set because and you got to play them down.
Yeah.
And you got to know how to play them down, and a lot of them go straight to the top like a missile, and you're trying to push your rod down to keep them down, to keep them from throwing it, And if you don't fish that lighter line, you're just not going to get bit. So, it is a strategy.
So we're where the ramp is, where the dock is there in Felsenthal.
Right.
Martha and I are fishing for brim over there. Well, she hooks a bass.
Right.
And it was about a 2-pounder. I saw it. I said, don't pull it. I said, just pull him, just let him right. And I said, just let him swim back and forth. Let him swim back and forth. Yeah. And she swam him for a long time. And then I said, all right, well, just ease him up. And it bent it off as soon as he got air.
Right, yeah.
She goes, that was a big one. I said, well, it was big for that tackle, for a brim hook.
Right. I make jokes about that bass have eyes like a turkey.
Yeah.
And they can see. And I know when you grab that dip net and head towards them, they make another bolt, you know what I mean? Or they see the boat when they're coming up and they fight harder, And a little old brim hook, unless you got him in a fleshy part, it'll straighten out or whatever. Yeah. Especially if you got, heavier pound test line.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
but it's got, the fun part about tournament fishing.
Yeah.
Kind of goes out sometimes when you're having to, for competition. It's not as
here in the last X amount of years, I'm so tuned in on working. I'll work and take off 2 days to pre-fish, do a tournament, and then come back and go to work. Mm-hmm. There's never no stop.
Yeah.
And I almost didn't tournament fish this year. I told my wife, I said, we're doing so good here. I want to have more time to do it, not be able to stop and take off. And my wife said, BJ, if you do not prepay those entry fees that force you to stop working, you'll just work 24/7. Mm-hmm. And she's right, So I did it, and I'm glad I did because I'm having another good year. And
good.
So who knows? Maybe I'll get that title finally.
Yeah,
finally.
Or if they start giving something for second.
Well, if they do, man, I'll be in business.
You're in
man.
like Flint.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to call the tax man. We got a problem,
So. Talk to our viewers here about strategy on color.
Everybody loves a parade, and hilarious pizza throws parades all week long. Bring the family in for your favorites, or explore the variety that Larry's Pizza offers. Come join us at Larry's Pizza for the greatest parade ever.
With a name you trust, you can count on us. Glen Mechanical, plumbing, heating, and air.
For over over 6 decades, Glenn Mechanical has been specializing in HVAC, plumbing, and all mechanical jobs. 3 generations family-owned and operated since 1956. Glenn Mechanical's business is based on relationships. They support and give back to the communities they work in. Contact them for all of your HVAC, plumbing, and mechanical needs. GlennMechanical.com.
Bad things happen, and of course, they never happen at the right time. Maybe it's just a little bump and cosmetic damage, or it's turned into a huge insurance claim, and you just don't know where to go next. That's why so many of your neighbors and friends call on Cook's Body Shop in El Dorado. From the minor to the major, Cook's Body Shop is in your corner. Need someone to help you deal with insurance? Look to Cook's. Need advice on what to do next? Look to Cook's. Need a free estimate? Look to Cook's. Bad things are going to happen, and when they do, look to Cook's.
When it comes to your family's financial future, peace of mind matters. At Harrison Financial Management, they are right here to help you plan, grow, and protect what matters most. Whether you're planning for retirement, investing wisely, or securing your family's future, they will guide you every step of the way. Harrison Financial Management, your future, their commitment.
Rated the #1 course in Arkansas by Golf Week, Mystic Creek is truly a hidden gem, complemented by a modern clubhouse, complete with panoramic views. It also features a fully stocked pro shop and Mystic Grill, serving contemporary American cuisine and Southern classics. Mystic Creek promises an unforgettable experience.
Whether you're using a worm or a spinnerbait, a crankbait, whatever.
Color is decided by several factors. Water clarity versus the sky. You know, whether you're overcast or you're a bright sunshiny day or it's a bright bluebird day. And, muddy water colors are brighter, where they can see it. That's when you use your rattles, in a bait or whatever. And you want something that's a brighter color. Down in this part of the country, I've never seen it work on Felsenthal, but I have on the Arkansas River. Like citrus shad is a color in a square bill. And most of those are silent. It's hard to find rattle ones now, but when you do find one, the rattle one, they can feel the vibration from their lateral line, on the side and their eye color, and they hear very well, that's the reason why if you're at an aquarium, they tell you don't tap on the glass.
Tap on the glass.
Right. Yeah. Now, back in the day when you're using a John boat, no carpet, you drop something. Your grandpa was getting all over you because you're being too loud.
Don't make too much.
Yeah, bass boats are not like that.
Yeah,
I mean, they're padded.
They're foam.
But do you remember the color selector that was made, Hank Parker and all them, And if you go back to that, my dad had one. It was all about sky color and water clarity of what color to choose to do. But I'm going to tell you, all the way around, anything green pumpkin is going to be a dead giveaway. But I will say this, green pumpkin will get you a bite or two, in certain situations. But then there's dialed-in colors that's going to get you a better bite. You know what I mean? And so, therefore, like a bright bluebird sky day, you will actually want to fish a black buzzbait because the silhouette of them looking up, it
shows a shadow.
It's black, yes. On an overcast day, you want a white buzzbait. I'm just using that as an example. And then you get into the blades. Overcast days, I'd say painted blades, your blues, your blacks, stuff like that. There's a deal where chrome and the copper looking color throws off more flash, which can spook them away. And I've seen that happen more times than one. And so, that's a factor in a color. The blades, like a spinnerbait or a buzzbait or something like that, or crankbait, even there's more of a flash or whatever. And, I tell you something that I used to do as a kid. You'd go to these little oxbow lakes, and while your dad was putting the boat, I'd go turn over rocks and pick up the big roots wads, and you'd see all these little red flakes in there. What those are is it's a type of parasite. I don't know the actual name for them. And that means right then, whatever you're going to throw is going to be black red flake or green pumpkin red flake or whatever, because these parasites get all over the shad and everything, and these fish see them in the muddier water.
Let me ask you a question, because I've found it to be true in a certain fishery.
Right.
That a certain color works better all the time than any other color.
You know,
what about what you talked about just then?
There is now. I have some really high-powered fishing friends. I'm good friends with Larry Nixon, George Cochran. Matter of fact, I was just on the phone with Larry the other day, and they seem to think color does not matter. You know.
Okay.
One time, I've got billions of favorite fishing stories. There was a guy from Hot Springs that had moved to Camden, and I was a meat department manager at Cardinal Shopping Center, Garden Oaks area. He came in as a manager. Well, he was from Hot Springs, and he was telling me all about Hamilton and Ouachita and Catherine and everything. Me and him ended up at White Lake, and it was in May, so it was post-spawn after. It was a lightning storm coming off the distance, like an electrical storm. It was getting overcast, and we were both throwing black and blue buzz baits. He had a triple-bladed one, and I had a triple blade, which is bad old school now. And you had to throw it just barely enough to make it gurgle on the top of the water. I was catching fish after fish after fish. And we're not just talking about 3 and 4 pounder. We're talking about 6s and 7s and stuff. So next thing you know, we come up on this beaver dam, and there was a creek, a little ditch leading it where the beaver's going in and out. And I watched Chris, it was his name, he threw it in there 4 or 5 times, same color buzzbait. And as the boat went forward, I'm in the back of his boat. I throw up there and I catch a 6. He had chrome blades, and I had blue blades.
Blue blades
was the only difference.
So they were spooking off those chromes,
off the flash of it or whatever. And so it can show you right there where you're saying to somebody, "Hey man, I'm fishing a black and blue buzzbait," and they go buy one and they never get bit and they think you're lying, or whatever. But there are little detailed things, that I like.
The nuances of bass fishing is what makes it fun.
Yes, it is. And what I love about the tournament fishing or bass fishing in general, it's a 1,000,000-piece puzzle.
It is.
And you have to put that together.
Yeah.
And you have to put it together pretty fast in order to.
And you got to figure out the pattern.
Yeah, the pattern.
And your wife is never going to understand why you've got 20 rods on the front of the boat. Or 10 or 12.
It's like a golfer. You got a pitching wedge, you got a putter, you know what I mean? You got a flipping rod, you got a,
I said, how many shoes do you have?
Yeah.
Because, there's different shoes for different days. I said, touche.
There you go. Well, I got a friend of mine that owns the jury box over in Fordyce, Marydale, and one time I was griping about something I was paying for my wife for Christmas, and she said, BJ, how many bass baits do you have? I said, well, you got me there. Give it here. So, but in fishing, it is an expensive sport. And the baits have gotten real outlandish and stuff.
I'll go swimming for some of them.
Oh, I have. I have. Yeah. Oh, I've done it. Yeah.
Back in the day, as a little boy in the '60s, my dad was never tournament fisherman, but he could catch more fish out of the back of the boat than anybody could in the front.
Right.
And so we'd go with him, and for a long time I didn't get to throw nothing but a rubber plug.
But because you get hung up. Yeah, you get hung up.
Yeah, you'll catch them on that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I said, well, Daddy doesn't have any hooks on it. He goes, when you quit throwing it up in the trees, I'll let you.
Yes, you go on squirrel hunting.
And some things never change. I took Boomer fishing.
Shut up. You have to tell his nope. You got to tell everybody that.
Well, not everybody.
Well, go ahead.
Just the people on the show up here.
Tell BJ.
Took him sand bass fishing and told him, I said, leave that bait cast reel at home. You don't want to use that thing.
Right. Yeah.
And as Troy normally does, he ignored what I said, and he brought it. And we're back on this creek, and man, it's maybe. I mean, the boat could go sideways, but you couldn't back up or go forward much. It's just a little old creek. But man, they're back there, and we're hauling them in, and he gets hung up in this tree for like the 3rd time. And okay, maybe the 5th then.
No. Maybe the 5th.
But he's like, "Hey man,
I got to have that bait back.
I got to have that bait back." And I was like, "Yeah, hang on." So we, I guess, hit the trolling motor or whatever to go over that way. And he's right on the front of the boat, and there's a tree submerged under there, and that trolling motor hits it, and the boat does one of these. Well, when it does, he goes right off the boat
backwards.
February.
Oh,
it's cold.
Oh yeah,
backwards.
And only half of him went in.
Yeah, my legs were still in the boat.
Just from here up, went in.
You're thinking,
I was
wallet,
baptized.
cell phone. Yeah, baptized.
I got baptized.
Yeah.
And so
again.
So my my father-in-law and I, we jump up, we get him up out of the water, and man, you all right? And he's like, it's cold. And James says, well, I got these coveralls. And so Troy goes to shucking clothes. And he said, I didn't say I'd give them to him. And then we were having a good laugh, right? And so he's over there taking clothes off, and I mean, he's down to just a pair of drawers.
Right.
And all of a sudden, real quiet up behind us, we hear something and look over, and it's 2 game wardens.
Which is hard to explain. Yeah.
What you boys doing back here?
Yeah.
And that's what they said.
Oh, man.
One of them said, I don't think y'all got enough license for whatever it is y'all doing back here.
Oh, my word.
And explained to him, they said, well, we heard something, you know. So.
Right.
But
he said, I guess we won't check your license.
Yeah. They didn't even
want to go nowhere near
y'all
that.
Go ahead.
Right. Yeah.
They didn't even bother to check us. Now, the next year, I think Boomer and I went, and we did get checked by a Texas game ward. It was on the Sabine River, which borders Texas and Louisiana.
Yeah.
So we got checked by a Texas game ward. I mean, we barely got into where it's fully Texas. So there's a part where either Louisiana or a Texas license will suffice.
Right.
But once you get past a certain point going north on the river, there's signs everywhere saying only Texas fishing licenses and blah, blah, blah. And so, I mean, we barely got into fully Texas part of the river, and game warden comes sliding up there beside us, and he's like, yep, need to see you boys, this, and this. And we didn't have a dang fire extinguisher in the boat. And the thing is we went back that day, and he didn't give me a ticket, but my father-in-law was like, yeah, there's a fire extinguisher. And I said, man, Troy, I, and the game warden couldn't find it.
Yeah.
You know, so, and he's like, no, there's one in there. Still to this day, I've never seen one in that boat. You know?
Right.
But, man, you know, any kind of fishing you do when you get into them. And that's the thing is, you know, about bass fishing, you have to, if you're going to go fishing for largemouth, you just have to be prepared most of the time that you have to have long vision. You can't just expect to go out there and spend the next 30 minutes just yanking them in.
No.
Unless you're happy yanking in, you know,
Dinks.
12, 13 inches and, you know, stuff that's a pound, you know, which is fine. I can do that at my mother-in-law's pond. You know, I can pull in them little pound and a halfers all day long.
Right. They fish. They're vicious.
Yeah. And they're a lot of fun
delicious.
to catch.
And at that time, you can win the classic, and you're ready to go tournament fishing. I can beat these guys. You know, I'm there. You know.
Yeah.
It's funny. One day, my boys, they were still fairly young. We're all fishing down there at the pond, and one of them, we were just brim fishing. One of them, he's pulling a brim in, and as he does, a bass comes up and snatches it off of his hook and takes off. And he's like, "Oh man!" And my wife said, "Mama's got this." A couple times, casts out there and said, "Boom!" She hooks it, pulls that thing in. Brim still sitting in his mouth. Brim going. Yes, it was.
No.
Yes, it was. Honest to goodness truth.
The wildest I ever saw was a bass come off a hook, and my dad threw it. Went, oh shucks, and he hit it again and caught it.
Really?
And I've never seen it since.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, one of my grandsons is a pretty good fisherman, and they have a website called Louisiana Life, LA Life, they call it, and he's got a picture of a bass jumping out of his
live well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'd never seen that. He was putting one in and one jumps out. He goes, "Did that fish jump out?"
Yeah.
Wow.
Bang slew.
Bang slew. Thank you.
Bang slew. That was on the Dead River over here outside Canyon.
I know where it is now.
You know, I'd love to go fishing with you sometime.
Yeah.
But
it'll cost you.
Got to let you know I do have some PTSD moments.
Yeah.
From riding with this guy.
If you're in Felsenthal and you're in an aluminum boat, you're gonna now. If I'm in a bass boat, I'm not gonna go back where you can hit stumps.
Right.
Or I'm gonna go slow enough.
Right.
But there's stumps everywhere.
Right.
And it scares people that. Not used to hitting them.
Right. Oh, yeah.
If you're a duck hunter, you're used to running over stumps.
You run them over them. Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
well, again, growing up on Toledo Bend, where you're wide open, 90 foot of water, and
that
could be
that
could be the end
still
of the day.
Sticking up out of Toledo Bend.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's a lot of stand timber in Toledo Bend. Yes.
Yeah. I hadn't been there since the 70s.
Yep. So again, we were at Sam Rayburn just a few years ago, and now the water was up. But even with the water being up, we're still running past. I mean, I looked over at Mike Wheatley, who's former BASS angler,
right?
And now he and his wife they have a couple guide companies, and they do exotic hunts too, and all that kind of stuff. But I looked over there, and at that depth finder, and we're like 64 foot of water.
Yeah,
and we're flying past these past this timber sticking up out of the water.
Right,
at 64 feet.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you this. 40 miles an hour on the water is fast.
Fast. It feels real fast.
So it does.
And and of course now I know guys, and Mike being one of them. First time he and I ever went fishing together, his throttle was on the floor. He had with a pedal.
Yeah.
And man, when he stood on that thing, but he told me, he said, Sandy, I may have to run for an hour and 25 minutes to get to where I got to get.
Right.
From where we're putting in. And he said, I want to beat anybody else there. And he could most of the time.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
But, Mike and his wife, Kathy, their first date, they decided to go fishing. And he said, I knew I was going to marry her when she said, now, whose boat are we going to take, yours or mine?
Oh, yeah. There you go.
He had that advertisement. A wife must have boat.
He had a picture of boat. Yeah.
He said, I was in love at that minute.
That's right.
I love you.
But they do have a guide company, and they own some little cabins that they rent down on Sam Rayburn, and they do that from basically January through maybe late April, and then I think they take off a month or two in the summer, and then they go to getting ready. They got an exotic ranch where you can go hunt exotics,
right?
And I mean, I would love to go on a hunt. I don't really care for hunting an exotic. I want to go out there to the Texas Hill Country,
right?
Where you're out there looking at 12 and 14 points that are just
right, and they're letting them pass.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we need to let that one go.
But that one that you want, it's going to cost you $10,000 to shoot in.
The whole thing.
That's even cleaned and dressed and processed and everything.
But
you better speak a second language.
I missed the biggest deer I've ever seen in my life 2 years ago, and I realized then there are some guys out there that they can get in the woods and starting in August. And they can start scouting and spotting and looking at rubs and scrapes, and they can do this, and they'll come out of the woods with a really good deer. That buddy of ours that passed away won our deer tournament 2 or 3 years. Had the bait and tackle store.
Oh yeah, I don't remember his name.
Andy.
Yeah, Andy.
Yeah.
He
that was a guy who would go off in the woods in the morning and come out at night in August. Because he was in there spotting deer. And he's going to come out on that opening day, he's going to come out with something 10, 12, 14 points. And I mean impressive deer.
Right.
But for the most part, those guys are rare. Most people who have these big, shoulder mounts on their wall, that was luck.
Yeah, it just happened
and that's
to be
what
there.
happened
to be there.
That's what happened to me. My wife and I are hunting. She's hunting a stand over here. I'm down here. And I'm looking this way. She's looking kind of like that. And she texted me and said, I'm going in. It's dark. I said, well, I can still see. And as long as I can see, I'm going to sit here. I'd let a myriad of does walk by. I'd let a little 4-point walk by. And finally, I'm like, okay, I can't see. And I'm in a barn.
Right.
And so I get up from my little stool. And just as I'm looking over just the little ridge of this hayfield that I'm at, I see it. This thing, Daddy taught me early on, we don't count points. We don't, not prior to killing it.
Right.
But I'm telling you from looking, it's at least 14.
Oh, yeah.
He's every bit of 14 points. And massive, massive.
So did the deer fever hit you? It hit you?
It did.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the only time in my life that's ever happened. And so I pull up and I'm shaking. I'm like, okay, stop. And I'd stop because growing up Buddy Sanford's son, the one thing I was scared to do was shoot and miss.
Yeah,
because Daddy would whoop my butt.
Oh yeah,
Daddy would whoop my butt. So I stop and take a couple deep breaths, and this old deer, he's just standing there with his nose up, and I'm like, man, I've got seconds, maybe not even that long. He's gonna go because he's smelling something, and so I pull back up and I steady up, and I feel like I'm good and steady, and I don't know what happened. Now I'm shooting a 270. that's dialed in at 200 yards, and it was only about 125. So I don't know if I just shot a little over him.
Did you see a flash when you shot and it blinded you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And so I shoot, and then man, you talk about the boop, 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 boop,
Yeah.
boop,
Oh, yeah.
after that, because I thought I hit him. Because when I shot, as I saw the flash, I thought I saw him kind of. I know I saw him leap, but I thought I saw him kind of leap sideways. You know, like he was hit.
Yeah. Probably the gun going off.
Yeah, and so I'm thinking he's hit. Now I can't see the ground over there because it's steadily getting darker and darker every 30 seconds. But I stand there and wait. I pace around a little bit, get my breath and walk over there. Nothing.
No blood.
No blood. No hair. No nothing. And my wife texts me and she's like, "What was that?" And I said, "The biggest deer I've ever seen." And she's like, "You get it?" I said, "I think so." And so I can see her coming with flashlight, and I'm headed over here, and we meet. Man, just nothing. And that's the second time I've seen that deer. The first time I saw him was a couple years before that. And I use this. Are you much of a golfer? Do you play golf?
I have, yes.
Okay. So I use this analogy. I said he was a 3-wood away, and I'm standing there with a 9-iron.
A 9-iron, yeah. Yeah.
And by that I mean I've got a 30-30. And he's 270 yards away, 250, 270. And which, by the way, best of luck on me hitting a 3-wood 250 or 270 anymore. Back in the day, but, but anyway, I just watched him through the scope, and he was 14 points then. And there was nothing I could do with that 30-30.
That first time you saw him?
Yeah, that first time I saw him, I just watched him.
But this deer didn't get that big by being stupid. That's right. That's the main thing. Yeah.
But man, he stepped like he was regal looking. He
Did he look like the Hartford commercial?
Yeah. And he did have that kind of a cape,
When you said that, I pictured it.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. So if nothing else, he's out there siring, all these offspring. My dad and I, the last time we hunted together, I shot a doe, biggest doe I'd ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And I watched him. So a big old buck, it wasn't that one, but it was a big old buck, probably one of his offspring, had come through. And I saw him. He was in the woods, and where he pranced out of the woods, he got behind this brush pile, and then I saw him jump the fence. And I was like, dang,
Yeah.
He was, again, smart. He knew where not to go. Directly, here comes 2 does, and they jumped that fence coming back. I'm like, maybe he'll come after one of them.
Yeah.
And so I watch them, and they walk around that brush pile. And it's actually 3 does. I'm sorry. 2 of them come on this side of the brush pile. Well, I've hunted there enough. I know if they come on this side, they're going to come all the way. They're going to come right in front of me. And if they go on that other side of the brush pile, they're going to the woods. So here come those 2. They come on this side of the brush pile, and they're walking behind the horse pen over here and behind the barn. And they come up, and I mean, they're just dead in front of me. And Daddy said, "Which one are you going to take?" I said, "That biggest one." Yeah. And I shot her, dropped her, and a little bit we get down and go over there to load her up in the side-by-side. And I was like, 1, 2, 3. "Daddy, I need you to pick up on your end." He said, "I am."
Oh, man. Big old doe.
We get her out here to Goodwin's for her to process. And, we hadn't field direct nothing.
Yeah.
We threw her in the truck and headed out. And we get inside, and because I'm picking up a deer I dropped off a couple weeks before that. We get inside and come walking back out. One of them hands says, "Hey, you want to know what that deer weighed dressed out?" And I was like, "Yeah, 160.
Ooh.
160 pounds after they dressed her and skinned her." And I'm like, "That's a big doe.
That's a lot of meat.
That's a lot of meat.
A lot of meat. A lot of meat.
One of them guys said, "Man, if that had been a buck, it'd be 12, 14 points." I said,
Right.
"I know who her daddy is."
Yeah, that's right.
BJ, let me ask you. I'm picking your brain.
Sure.
Here.
Yeah.
So a big part of y'all's year is in the wintertime.
This league I'm in, yes.
Yes, the league you're in now.
Yes.
So talk to me about winter fishing. I've been fishing some in the winter, but it's a different bite, isn't it?
It's funny you should say that. I really thought a lot about that in the last 5 or 6 years. When I first started my tournament career, the first tournament out the box, I zeroed. And that's the cardinal sin. That's the bad deal. That's the hall of shame right there.
Yeah.
The next tournament, we were fishing a Morgan's Point, which was off the Arkansas River, but it had a 12-inch length limit, where the Arkansas River at that time had I think it was 15. And I was thinking it was going to be the same, and I was throwing back keeper fish and didn't realize it and zeroed the second one. But then I came all the way back and got Angler of the Year in 2009 or 10, whenever it was. But I couldn't hardly catch a fish in cold water.
Yeah.
And it, growing up play fishing with your dad, you went out fishing. Daddy didn't start fishing probably till the third week of March, maybe later in there. And then he'd fish all the way into October, and at the end of October, it was no more. And so, therefore, I wasn't experienced in the winter fishing, and I had zero experience at clear water fishing.
Yeah.
So I had to learn. I had to learn fast. I'd fished the TBF. I fished the Federation. We'd fished the Bassmaster Weekend Series there for a while. So when the ABA came up, they wanted to go through the winter. And at first I was like, man, I ought not do this. You know what I mean? And then I thought, well, there ain't but one way to learn, is go do it. And so, in this last term, I'm going to drop 18 pounds on there and lose by 7 ounces, you know what I mean? But I told my wife, I said, I can remember a time I couldn't even put a 5 bass limit together because, you catch 5, then you upgrade. And so the cold water fishing is to me, has became very simple. I will say this, it's tougher to fish muddy cold water than it is to fish clear cold water.
Or stained.
It's different, And those fish are more active than you think. They really are. And the deeper out, they're more active, and that's where that technology comes in and stuff like that, really. But, because I've been amazed. They call it pinging the minnow. You know what I'm talking about? Single minnow. I was at Greer's Ferry, and I throwed one out, and the minute it hit, that fish fired up like a rocket and hit it. And it was the second biggest bass I had that day. And but he was active, which is contrary to what you've been
thinking.
And what you think. They're lethargic. They're not. I do believe it. From my experience, it seems like that when a cold front first hits, if you ever notice, downtown El Dorado kind of goes ghost town a little bit, and then you get in the winter and people start coming out and they're wearing coats and bundling up and stuff like that. Well, of course, bass don't have that, but they are cold-blooded, creatures. And there are things that you can do to throw in your favor, like rocks hold heat no matter what during the winter when the sun bakes on them, and that is a fish attractor. Timber holds heat. I have seen it in Felsenthal where the sun's beating down on the cypress tree, and I believe that heat extends to those roots. But now what we're talking about, we're not talking about 100 degrees versus, we're talking centimeters of cold, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That make it warm enough to attract those fish. And they do say the feed bite, where like the time period that they would feed in is less in the winter. I still don't really buy into that. I think a lot of the things that we have been taught. I grew up on Bassmaster magazine, as a kid, and watching the VCR tapes and all that stuff, and this is what I had knew. Plus, my dad was a very old school fisherman. Him and George Cochran were very parallel with one tackle box and only so many baits, which were confidence baits, is what they were using. And they just didn't fish winter. They didn't. So I had to really.
We didn't. Even growing up in South Louisiana, we didn't fish winter.
No.
Just because it was cold.
It was cold. Yeah.
Now we would fish crappie in the winter.
Right. Well, we fish crappie in the winter. But I've been out there when I've had to spray stuff on my eyes of my rods to keep because it's freezing up.
Well, that was a story that I had. Daddy said. I said, "What's wrong with my rod, Dad?" He looked at it. He says, "Well, your eyes are freezing up." I said, "Well, let's go."
Yeah.
I said, "It's warm back at the house."
Right. So. Well, I've gotten these 100-mile-an-hour rain suits. And there's these fish monkey gloves that you flip over. You can put those heated pads in them, and you can even got them that strap onto your thighs. And they got some that go in your shoes. And because I'm one of these, if my hands and feet get cold, I'm done. Yep. So I take every precaution that I take to be out there in the cold. We got a tournament in 2 weeks on Hamilton, and it looks like it's going to be highs of 48. But, I mean, that's still not bad.
But on the water.
As long as you're above freezing, I'm good with that. But now February, we have one on D-Gray, and that may be a different story because I'm thinking we're getting a late winter this year, of course, by the weather, But the cold water fishing, has really been fascinating to learn, and I will say a lot.
You notice he hadn't told me what you do yet. He just
Well, the pinging the minnows a thing, the jig's a thing.
Yeah. Jig up against a tree.
Jig up a tree.
Yeah,
Well,
that's about all.
and the old Magnum wiggleworts that you would know now, they've replaced them with the Spro rock crawler.
Okay.
Which is kind of the same type of crankbait.
Yeah.
And so that's probably going to play a role for me in February and probably in Hamilton. And they're more of a reaction bite when they're not hungry. It's kind of like me having a tennis ball in my hand, and I throw it at your face. You're either going to slap it and bat it down, or let it hit
Or
you.
get hit.
You get hit, and that's what that reaction bite is with the crankbait.
Yeah.
You're ricocheting off those rocks. But,
Yeah, get them to react.
React to it. Yes. And
Let me ask you another question. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
So on a typical day, you're not getting started.
Right.
You're a tournament fisherman, and you've been at it for a while. How much gear, monetarily wise, do you have on your boat?
My whole boat's a tackle box.
Okay.
The whole thing. Matter of fact, I'm running a Bass Cat Cougar right now with the 250. And Rick Pierce, that just recently retired, used to be the owner of Bass Cat.
Yeah.
He said, you want to stack everything in the back. Well, if you know much about Bass Cats, they walk on top of the water. And I have a hard time controlling the boat, especially when you get up in the 70s, close to 80.
Oh, yeah.
So I stack everything in the front.
To hold it?
Yeah. and I do it on purpose. And because, I'm 53. Now, 10 years ago or even 30, 20 years ago, oh, my God, I'd have had everything out of there or whatever. But there is a preparation of tackle that I use. You know what I mean? And I'm real big on controlling what I can control. Like, for instance, spooling my reels the night before the tournament. Rigging up. This is my morning, my midday, my bait. This is what I'm using, or this is my main deal.
And tie those.
And tie them on knots. That's important. I do a lot of different things like that. But now I put them all back in the rod box.
Yeah.
Because when you're tournament angling and you're all parked in that boat like they are looking in your boat,
they don't want
to. You don't. Now,
you pull them out as you go.
Yeah. After it's over with, you can tell them all you want to then, because it probably because bass fishing is very situational.
Yeah,
and so what worked that day might not work the next day.
So what would be a basic dollar amount, though, that I'm talking that you've got?
Whoa.
Have you ever thought of that?
Yes, I have.
And he's not going to say it out loud.
Well, no. My wife is a totally different monster from the rest of them. She's at every boat launch.
Yeah.
She's helping back boats down. She'll even help the other anglers back their boats down. She helps with the weigh-ins and the websites and the pictures and different things like that. And boy, if my wife thinks I need it, you're going to go buy it.
Okay.
If I want a new boat, she says, hey, I understand, let's do this. And so she don't give me any trouble on stuff like that. But man, the dollar amount, I do think like this. There's a tackle store over here on North Avenue.
Yeah. Northwest Avenue.
Yeah.
Used to be on
Hillsborough.
Sportsman.
When you go in there, do you realize the amount of money that is sitting in that store?
Yeah.
I mean, and what they have to have in order for you to come in there and buy.
Yeah.
You almost kind of feel bad, what they're having to, they're sitting on Fort Knox. And now baits have went out of control with everything else in America. And, where a crankbait used to be $5, it now may be $8.
Exactly.
And used to, you could
want to be 12.
Prospectively spend, I think, I have some experience with a bait just like this, but this one's newer. This one has a little different swim motion. Blah blah blah.
Right.
And so you could prospectively buy one. Man, I remember when I first started buying rattle traps back in the day. Quarter ounce rattle trap would be $1.99.
Yeah.
And if you can buy one for under $9, it'd be a miracle now.
It'd be a miracle now. Yeah.
Now, this does give us a good chance to mention one of our sponsors, and that's Country Village Sporting Goods.
Yeah, Country Village got a good.
They got a real good selection.
They're always, and the thing is I don't know that I've been in there a time in the last year that they weren't unboxing new stuff.
Yeah.
All the time.
And they repair boats too. They work on boats and sell. I think they sell Express.
Boats. They sell Express.
Yeah.
And
I've been in there a handful of times.
They're taking orders right now on creek boats.
Oh.
And those creek boats evidently that's the stuff, man. People go crazy over those. And I was talking to Trey Barker, and he said, man, in order for me to get a full order of those creek boats, and he told me how much it was, and I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
How do you write that check? And he's like, yeah, exactly.
How you sleep at night.
Yeah. But
do y'all floor plan?
Yeah. Right. But man, and then not just the baits, but the rods, the reels,
yes.
the bows.
Yes.
He carries hunting clothes and
yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
One-
and those are expensive.
the
yeah.
lacrosse boots, man, the frog togs, and you know, and just. that's
And,
why-
hey, and a good thing about them, they're right off the 4-lane, and you can pull your boat in there and pull
Yeah.
straight
Yeah.
in and pull straight out. You know,
Yeah.
they're easy.
But it wasn't
access.
always like that.
No, it wasn't always
He's
like
had to backfill a whole bunch to get another parking lot
Right,
in there.
right.
Yeah.
And I think they sell deer stands
camper-
too, don't
camper,
they?
yeah.
And
So-
fish attractors.
So here's what's funny on the deer stands. We were talking earlier in 2025, and he said something about deer stands, and I was like, "Well, man, my cousin owns a company, and he builds deer stands, and he worked for Coca-Cola. He and I started work Coca-Cola. Well, he started a year before me, and he stayed there for 30 years, and then they offered him an opportunity to retire, and he took it. Well, he's 46 years old at the time. He's like,
oh wow.
46. It's not like you just run out and grab another job, but he's like, man, I can't just sit around the house.
No.
And so he said, I think I want to. He started building little Jimmy goads. Well, of course, his weren't called Jimmy goads, but little portable buildings.
Yeah, right.
And then he found if he'd build deer stands, people couldn't order them fast enough. And so he started building deer stands, and his company is called Brink Built, BRINK Built, and Brink Built, and man, he is selling deer stands all over America. You hear me? And I was telling Trey one day, and I was like, man, let me hook the two of y'all up, and y'all. He said, man, I've run into him at a trade show before, and he said he's in Tenehaw, Texas. I said, yeah, that's right. And so I hooked the two of them up, and I think Trey went down there and got him 2 or 3 loads of them,
Right.
and told me one time he had them sold before he got them back, before he got back in town with them.
Yeah.
But if you want to check it out, Brink Built. And Lewis, I'll send you a bill on that. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
don't worry about it.
For me, when I'm out there on the water and nothing just seems to be working,
Right.
absolutely nothing seems to be working. My go-to is to hook up a worm Texas rig,
Right.
and just start bouncing it off the floor,
Right.
And I still may not end up pulling one in, but I'm getting some action.
My go-to is a sandwich and a Coke.
yeah. There you go.
A cold beer.
Well, let's rest a little. We can have
That's
cold
right.
beer and Felsenthal, but I'm not supposed to anyway.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who's ever had
Me
cold beer
either.
out on the water.
Not in their boat,
Not
no.
ever.
Never.
Not one time. Boomer and I put on tournaments for a number of years.
Yeah, we did.
And had some really nice.
We gave away a boat one year.
We gave away a boat one year, and
What's the place down in Menden that not?
you had to ask.
Yeah, well,
It's some initials.
is it?
I think so.
And this guy built boats.
They build the boats there,
Yeah.
and I mean they're perfectly.
It was
tuned.
a crappie little boat.
Oh, gotcha.
They're perfectly tuned.
Yeah.
He wants to know how much you weigh,
Right.
And then he's going to tune that before you drive out of there with that boat hooked up. He's going to tune.
What's the name of that
But
place?
it wasn't Watermoskin, was it? Watermoskin? No, that was
No.
Stonewall, Louisiana. Was where they
Yeah, I
were.
was going to say I know exactly
Yeah,
where
yeah.
that is.
I accidentally bought them one time. Bought one of them off of a refugee of Hurricane Katrina back then.
Yeah.
And he was in Monticello, and he sold me that thing for like $1,500. I did not know it was worth what it was worth. It was worth a lot more than that. And I fished out of it for a little bit, playing around fishing with it and
Yeah.
everything. And I sold it to a guy where my dad owned a camp in Pine Bluff. And as far as I know, the guy still got it. But it was like a miniature bass boat.
Yeah.
They had a glitter finish on its fiberglass.
Yep.
Gosh, I can't.
Those
believe I
water
forgot.
moccasin boats, those
Are they still in business?
Yeah,
They are?
Yeah,
Okay.
I know those guys, and I used to send them to Texas Motor Speedway every year for NASCAR race.
Ah.
They would always ask me for tickets, and I'd always get them for them. But yeah, Boomer and I put on a number of tournaments, and obviously in Felsenthal you're catching Kentuckys. You're not catching a Florida hybrid.
Right.
Are there lakes in Arkansas that have Florida hybrids?
Yes. Matter of fact, Lake Monticello had the Florida hybrids in it, but recently they had a breach in the levee.
Oh, no.
And it's a whole bunch of scandal about it. One thing, the city of Monticello owned it. Arkansas Game and Fish was managing it. They was having some issues with it, wanted to drain it, but then all of a sudden the levee breached. They did drain it, and they did dig it out, kind of like they did Lower White Oak recently. Mm-hmm. And they came back in with, and I may say this wrong, a Titan bass.
Yes, I've heard of
and
these.
it's supposed to grow at a very fast rate. Well, they fixed the levee. They got the water level up. I went out there once or twice, and I was already catching 5s and 4s already within the first 3 years of doing it. Well, then the levee breached again.
Oh.
So they had to bring it down to a certain level, which the ramp that I was using is now out of water, and the other one is like 7 or 8 miles on gravel road to get to it. And after a 10-hour detailing on a fiberglass boat, you don't want to do
You
that.
don't wanna-
You don't want to do that. And so, but it's a Titan bass. But the Floridas, they do have some of those in the Arkansas River. Arkansas Game Fish has stocked a lot of those. You know,
there was a guy who won the McDonald's, the Monroe McDonald's tournament.
Yeah.
At Grand Mary, he bounced a spinnerbait off the. It was the big ramp. He was over at the big ramp down at Felsenthal.
Right.
Bounced a spinnerbait off that big ramp and pulled in a 10-something.
Yep.
I've never known of a 10-pound anything or bass coming out of Felsenthal.
Right. It was the Japanese guy or the Chinese guy. What was
the Japanese guy? Yeah.
I remember
Got
this.
your moo-moo.
Yeah, something
But
like that.
he had to run. Of course, he had to run up the river and go through.
Yeah, he had to
locks
lock
and-
through.
He had to lock through.
Yeah.
And didn't know if he'd have enough time to get back. And
Right.
when they were interviewing him afterwards, I was reading an interview. He was like, "Man, I literally had maybe 2 casts left."
Right.
Because he said I had to give myself time that if I hit one to be able to get it in the boat.
Right.
And
well, there's video of him going up and through some of the draw sloughs through there. Of him stopping it.
Yeah.
Right. But he did. He bounced a spinnerbait off the big ramp down there and pulled in this 10-something pound.
And then they said you couldn't. They got to where they said you couldn't take
lock
your
through-
fish
put it back
lock
forward,
through,
yeah. Right.
Because they were taking all the big fish out of Felsenthal,
Right.
And that's a NW. That's
a National
Wildlife Federation thing.
And so we put on some big tournaments down there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Mike, what's his name, won it most every year. Golly, I didn't think I would draw a blank on his name. Sorry.
Yeah.
But he won.
I'm looking at him.
He won. Yeah. Yeah. He. Man, that's one of those guys. Though he's good at everything he does.
Right.
Just makes you sick. He go out there in that church league softball, and he's throwing underhanded, but he's throwing a curveball in slow pitch softball. Playing checkers. The guy can beat anyone playing checkers in like 30 seconds. I mean, just one of those guys at everything he does. He just seems to just knock it out of the park. But we had kind of some anomaly stuff too. We would have so if you brought in the smallest stringer of fish,
right,
we would give you your entry fee back. Basically, I think entry fee was like 120.
Which that gives you an incentive to bring the crowd.
Exactly right. Exactly. And then we had what we called the middle class award. So we would take the smallest stringer of fish and the biggest stringer of fish
and get in the middle
and come to the middle. And I think we just did it by place. So if we had 40 people who placed, that number 20 person was going to be our middle guy,
right?
And he's going to win and it was we gave away a lot of money.
Yeah, we did, and it was a benefit thing that we did, and it was a lot of fun for us to do. And Sandy and I did it with 3 or 4 people. And some volunteers. Of course, we
Smackover Bass Club.
Smackover Bass Club helped us, and then hired a guy to do the lie detector test.
Yeah, right.
And then we had some people to do weigh in, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we always had a great time, and we always held that tournament like in April.
Mm-hmm. And this was at Felsenthal?
Yeah, Felsenthal.
Yeah, okay.
And so we'd hold this thing in April, and I remember it's the Friday before our tournament is Saturday. And it snows like crazy in El Dorado in April.
Man.
And I mean
horrible.
And I'm not talking about a dusting.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
I've seen it happen.
Can't
8,
get
10
to
inches.
can't leave your house type snow.
Right.
And so we have to at the very last second cancel this
it
thing
on Friday night.
Right. And we put it out till sometime in May. And man, them guys when they fished it in May, they were like, "Man, we like this a whole lot better."
Yeah.
Because they said, "I never know how to dress for April."
Well, yeah. You remember Arkansas Team Bass that was owned by Keith Green, Ricky Green, the famous Bassmaster.
Yeah.
That's his son. And he kind of took down the tournament trail, but then he was going and putting on tournaments in a certain area. And he was putting on one at Camden at Sandy Beach, and he was calling it the River Rumble.
Okay.
I remember that.
And they was getting anywhere close to 100 boats, 80-something,
Yeah, and it was like $10,000 or something.
Crazy like that. And I've sat there and daydreamed about it. I said, man, downtown El Dorado right here, you could run them boats right, everybody pull up and do a stage right here, and you'd have the Arkansas Game Fish with a tank to run them back and have it out of Callion. I just wonder if you would have a spectator following.
We thought about doing stuff like that. and
Arkansas Game and Fish nixed us on that.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't want to take them from. They said they were fearful. First of all, there'd be too many dead fish showing up, and then
I can see that.
And then after they jostle them around and put them and weigh them on the scales and all that, and then put them back into a foreign water tank, and then go back. And that's the other thing they said. If we're going to take them back to Felsenthal, we got to put Felsenthal water in that tank. And
then towed it all the way back
and then
up
towed
here.
it all the way back up here.
Right.
So Arkansas Game and Fish they told us, if you want us involved, then we need to do it there.
That's why I was thinking Callion, because what are we talking, 10 minutes?
Yeah, not much.
Not much.
Yeah, but I'm like you. I fished at McDonald's.
Yeah.
And on Sam Rayburn, let me just tell you, there is nothing like watching that parade of trucks and trailers,
right,
with them boats and those guys who come in, because that McDonald's bass tournament on Sam Rayburn, I think now they're paying out over $1.2 million.
Oh yeah, something crazy
over
like that,
2 days.
Yeah,
and theirs is an hourly bass tournament. So
it's big bass,
big bass
tournament,
which is kind of luck, really, somewhat. I mean, you can do things to throw it in your favor, but it gives a good amateur bass fisherman not to go up against a guy that's day in and day out best 5 that could probably beat you. This guy could luck up and catch one, which there are guys. There's some of them out there. I think they got gills. You know what I mean? I mean, they've got that such skill, kind of like the guy you was talking about with the deer hunting earlier. Yeah, and there's some guys that are just natural at it. So the big bass tournaments are better, for your amateur.
And we'd had a big bass payout there too, didn't we?
We did. We always had
an hourly.
Mike Meadows.
Mike Meadows. That's
Mike
it.
Meadows.
Did you look
that
it
name
up?
sounds familiar. Yeah, sounds real familiar.
Yeah, Mike Meadows and man, I think we put that tournament on for 8-10 years, and he probably won
2 or 3
6 or 8 of them.
Yeah.
One of my favorites in there though was that smallest stringer, and we had 2 guys that they won it like 2 years in a row for that smallest stringer, and Joe Hart was one of them, and Joe and I'll still talk about it. I ended up coaching his kids in baseball, and I said, man, what'd you do with all that money I ever gave you from winning that tournament? He said, you mean winning that smallest stringer, getting my entry fee back? Is that the money? But we would give out, I think we were giving $5,000 for first place.
Or a new boat.
Yeah. Our new boat.
Yeah.
That was the big bass tournament.
Yeah.
We did do a big bass one time where every hour, and oh man, but you talk about guys who would fuss.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That was, I decided then we don't want to do any more of those.
It is, bass fishermen can be
cantankerous.
Very cantankerous, and with the world we live in now, it's even worse, But one thing I like about ABA, it's military ran.
Yes.
And those guys are very, this is it, buddy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there ain't no gray area.
There's no discussion.
Yeah, there's no discussion. And that's why I've stayed with them.
We had the biggest thing I remember about that big bass tournament was we had one guy who was just pissed. He said, I know he caught that fish at about 7:15 this morning, and he waited to weigh that thing in at 10. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's strategy. It's his deal, yeah.
But they ought to have to weigh it in the hour they catch it. Well, you can't do that. If I'm 45 minutes from the weigh in and I catch one at 7:45, how am I going to weigh it in that hour?
Yeah.
I mean, just anyway. But we decided we wouldn't do. We just do best 5, stringer of 5, and go from there. But Mike Meadows, he won it a bunch of times. Yeah, I come across that. It'll pop up in my Facebook memories every so often, and. Man, we had a lot of fun putting that on. It took a lot of people helping us. Sharon Peterson and Amy Parker. Now they were instrumental. They'd get out there at 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah, and check boats
and making sure everybody's paid up. And we would have teams though, like El Dorado Chemical. They'd say, put us 10 teams in there. We'll tell you who they are later.
Right.
And they'd buy 10 entries,
Right.
Lanxess would do the same thing. Give us, it wasn't Lanxess, it was Great Lakes or whatever back then.
Yeah,
but
Great Lakes.
Yeah, give us 10 teams, and if we need more, we'll call you.
Yeah.
And of course we put on golf tournaments that they do the same thing. They'd say, hey, put us 10 teams down and we'll just fill them.
We did golf tournaments for the El Dorado football team and the coaches tournament. And the first year, the inaugural year of that tournament, Boomer and I was on the team that won. Yeah.
Shot a 50. 21 under. But let me tell you who else was on that team. Scott Reed and Chris Ely. Now, they may not mean anything to you, but
I'm figure bringers.
Sandy and I were just like this.
Yeah.
Want that I should dry your clubs off for you, Coach Reed?
Yeah, that's right.
Scott Reed was our high school football coach at the time, and he'd won a state championship or two.
He's scratch.
Oh,
he's
man.
a scratch player.
Yeah.
And competitive.
Yeah, real
obviously.
competitive.
Obviously.
Right.
So, we get over there to a hole, and Scott may hit an approach shot from 180 yards out and drop within 6 foot of the cup. And I'm thinking, we ought to just get back in the car.
There's no use hitting.
And but Ely would step up there and drop them within 3 foot.
I said, save it, brother. Save it for the next hole.
And then we get to the next hole, and Coach Reed say, all right, I got something for you. So he hit a 3-wood from 245 out and inched it up there next to the cup. You know what I mean? Just those guys. That the only thing I contributed that day, other than wiping their clubs off for them, was on one of the holes we had a free 5-iron shot.
Yeah.
So you're laying 0. Well, these two guys are hitting 5 irons 200 yards. So now we're 305 or whatever out from the pin, and
for some reason
or other, the stars aligned, the angels came down or something, and I hit a driver, and
and you could tee it up.
Yeah, you could tee it up because you're laying 0. I hit a driver, and man, we're
like that.
This for the cup,
yeah.
laying 1 on a par 5.
Wow.
And so that was the only reason we
Have
did.
y'all ever played out here at
Mystic
Creek?
I did.
That is a beautiful
about 2 weeks ago.
course, man. I went out there and ate at the restaurant one night, and we was out on the porch.
What you can see.
And man, it was for something like that to be in South Arkansas.
That's it.
Yeah.
Anytime I've been out there with somebody, they're like,
wow,
are you sure we're in El Dorado?
Yeah.
I mean, man,
Isn't it the girls PGA?
Well, it's not PGA. It's the step just below. It's the minor league.
Minor league, yeah.
But
they're good. I mean, I've seen highlights of it. They were just as good. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, you win that tournament, and you're pretty much guaranteed to go to the LPGA the next year.
Right.
But man, that is. And let me tell you, as far as courses go, it's humbling.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because you can hit a shot that you think, man, I just hit the number 1 at that hole. You can hit a 200-yard driver straight, and you're okay.
Yeah.
You hit a 205 straight, and you're in bad trouble. Now, if you can put a little fade on it, you can hit 180, and it'll roll for another 75 yards.
But it's downhill cross.
Yeah, and so there's a par 3 out there that the last time we were playing. I told those guys, I said, y'all realize I have never landed the green on this par 3 ever. And that day I didn't either. And but there was a guy that went out there during the share tournament 2 years ago, sunk a hole in 1 on that hole, won like $10,000 or a truck or something.
That place is so good for El Dorado. Not this past September before last, 38 special. The group was singing at Mad. So he's my ex-boss. He used to own the pest control company. We're still good friends. He comes down, and his wife and Tim Wilson and all of us, we would go down there to watch. Well, after it was over with, we all walked downtown, and there was all these people. You could tell they were all golfers. And so I said, man, where are all these golfers coming? They were there to watch that girls' golf tournament. So it brought in a lot of people.
And let me just tell you, I don't know if they still do, but they did a Pro-Am out there. Duck Dynasty sponsored a Pro-Am out there a few years ago. And we played, and I ended up on a team with Lee Warden, who was an attorney here in town, and Will Vance. And our college player, who was our pro/am, he was like number 5 on his golf team. And he's playing from the tips.
All right.
And dude is still out driving. And again, you're talking about Lee Warden and Will Vance, who can knock the ball a country mile. And this guy's out driving them by 60 yards from the tips. And we're playing from the whites, And so anyway, we play in that tournament out there. And I could tell you why he was the number 5 player on his team, because he couldn't putt for shit. I mean, he just, But I'm going to tell you also, on that course, sometimes you can just whisper at the ball and it'll move. Those are fast greens.
Right.
We played the share tournament out there this year, Mike Poore and I, and couldn't sink a putt, man. Could not sink a putt.
There's greens out there that you can putt on the green, and if you don't put it right, you'll be off the green.
Yes.
Sitting. Yeah.
It's just
and undulates.
Right.
And, yeah.
If you don't hit it right, brother, you can put it off.
You know who Chuck Barrett is?
Oh, yeah.
The voice of the Razorback.
Yes.
So we played in a tournament with Chuck in Maumelle one time. And, man, we par 5, big dog leg. And somehow or another, we got past that dog leg from the tee box. And we all hit some 3-woods trying to get to the green. And Mike he comes up and he said, driver off the deck, man. And he hits the driver off the deck, and we end up on the green laying 2 on this par 5. And when I say on the green, we're this much on the green. But it's a 60-yard putt. I mean, or 60-foot putt. I mean, it's got to go through the clown nose and around the windmill and then
one of them deals.
And none of us want to putt because we realized that this could end. We could go from laying 2 to laying 6 and still not be in the hole if you don't do this right. So finally, I said, okay, I'm going to putt, and I'll at least show you what not to do. And so I line up, and Chuck's down behind me. Okay, there he goes. Lining up for the putt. That's what he's doing. Here's good speed. Good speed. Yeah. Okay, should break left, and it does. It breaks left. Now it's going to go over that undulate. Yeah, should break left again, and it does. And by gosh, this thing goes in. We eagle this hole.
Too bad you didn't have a cell phone on it with his voice. And all.
Him, Chuck Barrett doing the play-by-play.
That's right.
Chuck is like leaned up over my shoulder and yells, "Touchdown, Arkansas!"
Touchdown,
Arkansas!
To this day, he and I still laugh about that.
That's classic.
So, but here's the deal about that tournament.
Yeah.
So there's a group playing in front of us that we're waiting on the whole time.
Every hole.
We're waiting on them.
Yeah.
Okay. So we kind of know what. I mean, you can watch their approach.
Right.
You see them hitting their approach when you're driving, and you see them on the green.
Watch them 2-putt.
We get up
almost every hole.
We get up there and hand in the scorecards for to count up. Well, they got us beat by
3 or 4 strokes. We were like 11 under, which is normally more than enough to win that tournament.
Right.
These guys show up at 14 under.
They pencil whipped us.
I'm like, dude, we watched you.
And one guy's like Crip. He's like me now. He's Crip. He couldn't hardly walk. And it was a family thing.
So Chuck, the bad part is we pulled up and Chuck's like, so how did y'all do? And that guy's like, hey, 14 under. Chuck said, horse shit.
He called him on it.
He looked at me, and after the tournament was over, he said, I appreciate the time, but I will never play this tournament again.
Yeah.
and I don't blame him. You know that?
Yeah.
Man.
Right.
Yeah, they pencil whipped us, bro.
They did.
Yeah.
And that was a tough course, too.
Yeah.
Country Club of Arkansas. But Mystic, man, it is a beautiful course. And they're also one of our sponsors.
Nice restaurant, too. The food was good.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've not
good.
had anything bad there. Now, there was a time period right after they opened where it was like, okay.
Yeah.
But man, since then, everything I've had from there has been fantastic.
Yeah, good food.
My kids took me there for my birthday, and we went, of course, we're sitting there running 6 deep, 7 deep or whatever, and just, the atmosphere, like I said, and especially when, summer and where it stays light longer,
right.
You're looking out there at that course.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
My son, we do a coaches show every week called Fifth and Goal that he hosts and I produce, and do it during football season. Well, at the beginning of football season, man, you're looking at this behind him, and you're like, that's a green screen. There's nothing in the state that's as beautiful as what that is. That shot right there, but it sure is.
It is, yeah.
And it's man, beautiful course, and like you said, the restaurant is great.
And it's kind of a hidden gem, really.
It really kind of is.
If you don't know about it, I think one day I seen a ad on Facebook scroll through was where I saw it. And I said, well, hey, let's go check this out, And it ain't a hop, skip, and a jump from downtown
to
go
out in the woods.
It's out in the woods. It's out in the woods, yeah.
But, we everywhere I got, I grew up in a little town in East Texas, again, on Toledo Bend Lake, called Center, Texas. And I was in Center one day and ran into a guy I went to high school with. I think he was a year or two older than me. And he's like, hey, man, you still live in El Dorado? And I was like, yeah. He said, I want to come play Mystic. I said, say when.
Yeah.
Just say when. And I sent him a message a while back and said, brother, I'm a member at Mystic now. So just say when and come on. But I've got a buddy who works for ESPN, and he calls me and he says, hey, man, think you can get me on a Mystic? I said, I most certainly can. When do you want to come?
That's right.
So it's a beautiful course.
The great thing about that, Pete Parks, an accountant here in town, was the one that first put that together. That was his vision.
Really?
And it's a Pete Dye course. That they isn't it Pete Dye? No,
but now
it's not Pete Dye.
Isn't it kind of community?
No, Murphy USA owns it.
Yeah, he's saying, but there's homes.
Oh, that's what I was saying. There's homes.
No, there's homes out there.
Beautiful homes.
Oh,
really nice, well manicured yards.
Million plus homes.
Million plus homes. Yeah.
Not all of them.
But there's some patio homes there too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But all of them very well.
All of them
very well taken care of,
yeah.
and like I said, beautiful homes. And I have some friends who are building out there currently.
Right.
And you know, God bless Pete. He had the vision and the idea. Unfortunately for him,
make the money.
Unfortunately for him, it's like everything else. You know, third owner of a golf course makes money.
Yeah.
And that was the unfortunate part. But man, Murphy USA going in there and buying that, and then hiring Troon to manage it for them. That was the A+ #1 decision.
Right.
And so now you have something that again, if you're trying to build quality of life,
Yeah.
you know, you're trying to recruit a new doctor to the hospital.
Right.
And you find out he's a golfer and you take him out there.
Oh, yeah, he's sold.
Yeah, I mean, you might.
Number one course in Arkansas.
You could take him to Pebble Beach and he wouldn't be any happier.
Right,
You know, I mean, so, or Twin Pines are one of those, you know. But I think that having a place like that gives you an appeal. And I have a number of buddies from out of town. I have buddies from Houston who will call and say, man, I'm coming to El Dorado. I'm going to play at Mystic. And I figured out there's a little bit of a trail. So there's a place in Ruston. Is it Frenchman's Bend in Ruston? So they'll come play Frenchman's Bend one day, and then they'll come to El Dorado and play Mystic, and then they'll go from here to Hot Springs.
Where do a lot of these people stay at when they come to play Mystic?
Well, the Haywood.
That's what I was going to say. The Haywood.
The Haywood has been a big stop, I've noticed.
Right.
And then of course Union Square Guest Course.
Oh yeah. I like both of them. And
I've never stayed at the Haywood. I have
stayed at the Haywood. Yes, I have. And it's really nice, and it's really taken care of very well. I have noticed the times that I've been down here staying a weekend that it's packed.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
booked.
The Haywood?
The Haywood.
Yeah.
And what's the little porch bar thing?
Yeah, whatever it's called.
For the Well, something like that.
The Well, yeah.
Yeah. And they've even come a long way. You know,
Yeah, I've actually, we got invited, my wife and I got invited there by some friends, and first time I'd ever went there, and I was impressed.
Yeah.
We told them, said, look, we're starving. And they said, hey, they got food, come on.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's bar food. So
Right.
I think we ordered nachos or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was freaking good.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
really good
Yeah.
food. I was impressed. I was like, you know, you don't get that. I will say some of the best food I've ever had has been in a ice house or a bar
Right,
or
right.
something like that.
Right.
But that was really good. I was very impressed. Some of the best food I ever had was definitely at a little hole in the wall ice house in Fredericksburg, Texas. You know, they bring it out on
They spoke German.
Yeah. But they bring you a steak out on a sizzling skillet, and it's like a Ruth Chris, man. It comes out, that skillet's 700 degrees, and oh man, really good food.
I will say, for as far as downtown El Dorado, you do have a good selection, choice of different restaurants,
Yes.
all within walking distance. When we were here back the weekend before Christmas, Karen Hicks had
Yes.
a trivia thing over at the Barefoot Bistro.
Bistro, yeah.
And we went over there and ate. Oh my God, the hamburger,
Yes.
those fries, man.
Yes.
And me and my wife won that, by the way.
Did y'all
First
really?
time we ever won it. It won a trivia. We come close, you know. I was over at Mule Kicks in Magnolia one time, and it was a music trivia. And, man, I'm acing it, and I'm duking it out. It was just me and my wife at a table and a group of girls, and it got down to we were tied. So they had to have one question. It was a tiebreaker. And they played a song just for a second, and I think it was Dean Martin was the answer, and I said Frank Sinatra. It was a Rat Pack. I was getting close, and I lost. But anyway, that was close as I ever came. But we did win one over there with Karen, and boy, she does a lot of hard work.
Man, let me tell you something.
She is a go-getter.
If you had 3 Karen Hicks, you could lay off 100 people.
Oh yeah, you got that right. Yeah,
Man, she is a hard worker.
Yeah,
and
she is.
I appreciate. She will call me and say, "Hey, let's talk about blank."
Yeah,
and I'm like, I hate to even say this because it just puts it out there, but I'm almost in. If Karen's involved,
I'm in. Yeah,
I'm almost guaranteed to be in because I know it's going to be well organized.
Right.
It's going to be well thought out. It's going to be put together. There's going to be plenty of people. It's not going to be a cluster.
No.
You know, it's going to be something that's a first class event that I want to be a part of anyway.
Right.
And that's man, I'm telling you, she is a gem. You know, I liken her a lot, and it's not fair to her, but I liken her a lot to Alexis Alexander. Alexis, whom you probably would know, but Alexis was here, and she worked for the chamber. She
United Way.
Well, she's passed away, but
no, she worked for United Way.
Yeah, before that she was with the chamber.
Yeah,
and I think she came here to work for the newspaper originally,
right?
And then ended up at the Chamber of Commerce, and she was like that, man. You had an event going on. You wanted Alexis to be involved because she had the contacts. She knew who was the best person to run the beer tent, who's the best person to put in charge of this activity and that activity. And she, so when she went to become the executive director of United Way, she called me and she said, "Hey, I want you to be our campaign chairman." And I said, "Alexis, I don't think enough people like me for me to be the campaign chairman." And she's like, "You'll do great." And through her tutelage only, and that I'll say that at that time we set a new record for money raised for the United Way that year. Right. But it wasn't because of me; it was because of Alexis. But I said all that to say, Karen gives off that same vibe. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to make sure it's done, and it's done properly.
Yeah.
And man, you can't.
Do you ever see it on Facebook where she'll say, "This is this week's photo dump," and by the time you watch them, you're exhausted. Because she has done all this
She's
stuff.
done all of that.
Last year, I think it was, where I was telling you, me and my wife took the first ever week of vacation together. We've been together 20 years. And we were staying in room 2 above Laredo here at the guest quarters. And it just so happened the lighting of downtown was coming. And we were on that front porch right there to look.
Look.
Impressive.
Yes.
Impressive. Mm-hmm. They had the kids dancing, the guy with the bells. And boy, the pyrotechnics and the it was almost like a rock concert, and they did the lighting. It was so festive. It made me get into the Christmas spirit, you know, because it was right. It was like the last week. It was before Thanksgiving.
Right at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, right at Thanksgiving when they did it. And of course, Karen Hicks is down there, and I'm going blank on her daughter. I can't believe I'm going blank on her name. That girl's got more energy.
Yes.
And one thing that me and my wife were up there at the balcony watching her, and she was dressed as one of the elves. And when she gets into character, she ain't gonna break that character. And, man, she made sure every kid was played with, every person was talked to. And I was so impressed with her way she handled people. And Lily.
Yes.
Get Lily. She's always wanted to go to New York, and that's where they went for Christmas.
They went for Christmas, that's right.
I'm talking, she's 10 times beside herself and everything. But anyway, we came down and off the balcony, went down there talking. And I said, Lily, let me get a picture with me. And she, my name is whatever, the elf name or whatever. And so she took a picture, and of course she's got this big grin. And boy, she's just drenched with sweat of how hard she just really put into the character and what she was doing. But I was I was real tickled to see that. And I've told people all over the South, I said, man, y'all, it's worth to drive over to El Dorado to either watch the parade, see the downtown Christmas lights, Scare on the Square, is a good one. The Mayhaw Festival is amazing. I mean, it's blocks of, last year I think they had 2 different live musics going at 2 different parts. And, we've got tons of photo albums of it and everything. And people say, y'all go to El Dorado to hang out for a weekend? Yeah.
It's not a thing.
But there's all kinds of stuff to do. And the people are friendly. And it's nice, clean downtown. The restaurants are all friendly. And that's one reason why when we was talking about this podcast, I really was excited about it because it was held right here in Main Street Pizza. I said, I like Main Street Pizza. I mean, this is just a cool restaurant. So
I have some buddies who live in different parts of the state, and they're like, "Man, I'm going to come to El Dorado. Can we go to Fay Ray's?" They love
Fay Ray's. Go to Fay Ray's.
And Michael Rice has done a fabulous job over there.
Yeah.
The last time I went to Fay Ray's, my son and I went for lunch one day. And I told the sweet little girl that was our waitress, I was like, there's no way I can eat even the lunch portion.
Right. And it looks like a work of art.
It does.
I mean, it's like
we got the Orleans
pasta.
Yeah. And it's got shrimp and crawfish and crab and oyster and, and it's so freaking good. Ended up just my son and I split it.
Yeah.
And then still had to have a to-go bowl. I mean, it was still there was that much. And, of course, the steaks, always. We used to we had a guy that would come into town that did some sales stuff for us, and we'd take him over there, and he'd always order. It was called the Soul Train, and it was.
Now, is this a steak?
Yeah.
Is it done New Orleans style of some type?
It was a New York strip, blackened with blue cheese.
Now, blackened sounds.
And that was back when Richard and Brandy owned it, and I got to tell you something. That was about as good a steak as I ever had.
Yeah.
It was, I had Michael Rice on a previous podcast that I used to run and own, and just doing. He makes something called a pasta Mary Lou. He named it after his late daughter, and it's got a little bit of steak and some chicken and vegetables, and he goes through the whole. He shows you exactly what's all in it and how to make it. And we did it in an outdoor kitchen of a doctor here in town, and Michael being from New Orleans, he'd say, and them little crumbly parts on the bottom, and we take a break, and which we're gonna have to do in a second, but we take a break and we come back. He's like, so I was informed them little crumbly parts on the bottom is called fond. And he said, but that's where all the flavor is found in the fond.
Yeah.
So we are going to take a break. When we come back, we have more of Off the Back Porch right after this.
Who can solve this equation?
Ooh! Me.
Anyone else? Fine. Jake from State Farm. Again.
All right. It's the personal price plan theorem. If you bundle your home and auto, that can equal an affordable price just for you. Bundling. Just another way to save with the personal price plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
For longer than most of us can remember, Timber Lane Meat Market has been a staple of our community, where quality meats and friendly faces come standard. From everyday dinners to weekend cookouts, make it fresh, make it local, make it Timber Lane. Be sure to check out the daily lunch specials and like us on Facebook. Timber Lane Meat Market, 1336 West Hillsboro in El Dorado. Proud to be part of South Arkansas, and even more proud to be displayed on your table.
Non-stop phone calls, registered mail, repossessions, or threats of lawsuits from creditors, and it seems like no one is willing to let you hit pause and just catch your breath. You need the help of Robert Rushing and the Rushing Law Firm. Bankruptcy is not the end. It can be a chance for a fresh start. The Rushing Law Firm goes to work for you, letting you hit that pause button and start over. Call the Rushing Law Firm today at 870-875-2940 or stop by the office at 725 Northwest Avenue in El Dorado. The Rushing Law Firm.
Serving South Arkansas for 25 years, and all the while expanding and growing throughout the state, ProMed Ambulance is proving their motto of world-class care and hometown values. For example, their new mobile integrated healthcare communication center. This state-of-the-art facility allows communication specialists to work directly with local 911 call centers to ensure the closest medical team is always dispatched to any emergency. World-class care and hometown values. For more information and career opportunities, go to ProMedAmbulance.com.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer, and our special guest this week, BJ Knowles, who's a professional bass fisherman and also local small business owner.
Yep.
Has BJ Stump Removal, 870-510-2301.
That's right.
And so amazing how I could just know that, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
You just divined that.
Right.
Off of his shirt.
There you go. There you go.
But we appreciate you coming on
Thank
the show
you.
with
Yes,
us,
sir.
and thought I would share with y'all a Florida man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Boomer and I started this on radio
Years
decades ago.
Yeah.
You can basically go to Google, type in any month and date, not the year, but month and day, and type Florida
Man.
And there is a 99.9% chance you're going to read some of the weirdest stuff you've ever seen happen.
Story.
And-
Every time.
And
it's different.
yes, yeah, every time it's going to be it's like
So you Google Florida man.
just and put in a date.
Put in a date.
So you could just put March 14, Florida man,
Okay.
and it's going to come. You may have to read one or two stories down into Google to find it,
Yeah.
but there's some crazy story that happened on that date. So I took Boomer's birthday one time, and it's in April, and put it in, and there was a guy who had got found guilty by a jury and jumped out of a third-floor window at a courthouse.
Oh, wow.
And lived.
And lived.
Yeah, and
That would be my luck.
Now, he was still caught because he had two broken legs.
He lived long enough to go to jail.
Yeah. But anyways, here's Florida man. A Florida man was arrested early Tuesday morning after deputies said a late-night joyride turned chaotic. According to Polk County Sheriff's Office, the incident began around 1:40 a.m. when 42-year-old Travis T.J. Mullen. That's the other thing I've noticed. Almost every Florida man has a nickname. Travis T.J. Mullen was spotted driving a go-kart down a residential street. The go-kart, which was not street legal, was allegedly pulling a makeshift trailer made from a Home Depot lumber cart and bungee cords. This is 100% Florida man.
Yeah.
On the cart was a used refrigerator laying on its back.
You got to picture this now.
Now just think if you put this in Google. Okay, Google. Go-kart. Home Depot lumber cart, bungee cords, used refrigerator.
Yeah.
And they're
going to put this together?
It couldn't come up with this story.
Nuh-uh.
You know, so,
AI couldn't come up with it.
No. Oh, man. Yeah, the refrigerator had evidently been taken from a curbside pickup earlier that evening. Mullen reportedly told officers he was saving it from the raccoons and planned to fix it up to race it.
The refrigerator? Okay. I've never heard of refrigerator races.
You know, I've heard of bathtub races, soapbox
races, soapbox races, chiller races over there in Emerson.
Yep. Things escalated.
Imagine
when
that.
Mullen stopped at a nearby diner after hours when it was closed and removed a key lime pie from a delivery cooler behind the building. So again, go-kart, Home Depot lumber cart, bungee cords, used refrigerator, key lime pie. Yeah. Surveillance footage reportedly shows him holding the pie aloft and yelling something. There was no sound, with it, but he holds it up in the air after he steals it. Then puts it in the refrigerator and closes the door.
Yeah, what else would you do?
Right. Situation came to an abrupt end when the refrigerator trailer clipped a stack of broken concrete slabs near a driveway from an ongoing home repair project. The impact sent chunks of concrete scattering across the road, flipped the shopping cart, launching the refrigerator several feet into a mailbox. Deputies arrived to find Mullen sitting on the curb eating the stolen pie with his hands. He told officers the concrete came out of nowhere.
Sure.
Happens every time.
Yes.
The refrigerator failed structurally under pressure.
Failed structurally, yes.
Yes.
It broke. It tore up.
Mullen was charged with operating a motor vehicle while under the influence, petty theft, criminal mischief. The refrigerator was returned to the curb, the concrete was repiled, and the remaining key lime pie was taken into evidence where it will reportedly not be eaten no matter how good it smells.
Gosh.
Florida
Why is it always
that is classic.
Why is there always some nutty guy like that named TJ or...
Have you ever tried Arkansas Man?
No, I have not.
Yeah. We
don't want to do that.
We don't want to do that.
Because I might know some of them.
We'll wind up somewhere that we don't want to be.
Yeah, that's right.
Police said in Felsenthal. I'm like,
that's right.
Down in Huddig.
No.
That's a buddy of mine and I, Rodney Wilson, he'd say, you know, he's not from around here. Now, maybe he's from Callion, but he's not from around here.
He's not from around here.
You know, it's not always Florida, though.
No, it's not.
Yeah, because this one comes out of Columbus, Ohio. Police say 3 cousins were arrested this week after allegedly attempting to fraudulently collect college NIL money. Allegedly, the cousins Javon Tidwell, 19, Mastovian Johnson, 21, and Natravion Tidwell, 20, created fake social media accounts for fictional college athletes. Police became involved after the group successfully convinced an Ohio car dealership to send them free hats and $600 check each in exchange for brand promotion. The promotion, authorities say, consisted of one Instagram post captioned, "Big moves coming soon. Stay tuned."
But they got $600 each.
Yeah. Man, I got this idea.
That's a pretty good idea.
That's a good idea.
But you and I can't do that. I mean, look, Travion and
we're gonna put.
They was athletic.
We're gonna take some of them highlight reels that you can't even see who it is really on the field. You know, it's from way back here.
Yeah.
Put some of those on social media under a fake account.
Yeah. Whose picture we gonna put with it?
We'll find somebody.
Not me or you.
No.
Yeah.
No. And then we'll just start shopping them around. You know, see if we can get us some sponsors. Get us some checks and some free hats.
I'm good with hats, but I'll take some free cash. So.
Why did you think that was going to work?
I don't know why they thought that was going to work, but it did.
Obviously.
Did they get caught? Did it say they got caught?
Yes. Evidently, yeah. They got caught, yeah.
Yeah. Let's take a break.
Okay.
When we come back, I have some more stuff for you coming up right after this on Off the Back Porch.
Experience, courage, common sense. All of these are traits we want in any elected position, but especially in the man we will pick as our next sheriff. Michael Fife hasn't just been in law enforcement for 30 plus years. He's the one who answers the call in the middle of the night, putting himself last and Union County first, looking folks in the eye, doing what's right, standing up for all of us. Vote for Michael Fife for Union County Sheriff.
Derrick Henry.
Hey, Jake from State Farm. I saved so much bundling, it inspired my workout. Auto! Home!
Okay, and this is Auto again, right?
Auto!
Hey, this is my living room.
Home!
Bundling, just another way to save with the personal price plan.
The dog isn't allowed on the couch, Derek.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Anyone can be so curious.
Get ready to see the world more curiously because Blippi is coming to your hometown. The Be Like Blippi Tour. Join Blippi and Mika live on stage for a one-of-a-kind interactive adventure that inspires kids to move like, play like, and explore just like Blippi. Saturday, April 11th, the First Financial Music Hall in El Dorado. Tickets are on sale now at eldomad.com. Break out your orange Blippi glasses for an unforgettable experience that encourages kids to be like Blippi.
Every gift tells a story, and at Especially For You, they help you make it unforgettable. Birthdays, wedding showers, baby showers, graduations, or just because. Especially For You creates one-of-a-kind gifts made to touch the heart. Anyone can buy a gift card, but the best gifts aren't bought. They're made at Especially For You. Stop by and visit Especially For You and find the perfect gift for life's special moments.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch. Boomer, do you remember where that term came from?
I do.
When we were on the air together years and years ago on the radio, we would give the weather and we would say, I had a little chart, and take the temperature now, 51 degrees, for example. Add 1 degree and say it's that in this town, and take away 1 degree and say it's that, and I had a list of towns on each side, And so it's 51 in El Dorado, it's 50 in Camden, and 52 in Magnolia. And off the back porch here at Kicks 103, it's 51 degrees. Off the back porch.
Off the back porch.
We had a guy that was on the air, bless his heart, truly one of the most creative guys ever to work with. Great with voices, fabulous production, could make commercials like you wouldn't believe. But his comedy was just shy of slapstick. It was corny.
Yeah.
And so one day I'm listening, I'm driving into the office and off the back porch with the chickens, it's 51 degrees.
Yeah,
and
they had the chickens.
Yeah.
Chickens.
Yeah.
What?
He's trying to get the portrait in your mind,
Right.
And so I'm driving around town and I hear him, and off the back porch with the chickens, it's 54 degrees. And I'm like, again with the chickens, what's it? So I went to him, he's like, well, country place. And I was like, dude, we're not hillbillies, okay? We're not just trash, we're a country station.
Right.
And off the back porch sounds relaxing. Off the back porch with the chickens sounds
like
Clampets.
Like in the barnyard.
Yeah. And so, but that's where off the back porch came from.
I got you.
And so, one of my sons, excuse me, he told me at the beginning of the year, he said, I've got a plan to read the Bible in this year. And, it's not just a straight through, it's a this and this. And he comes to me the other day, he said, man, I never knew. He said, I knew about Jesus going to the wilderness and, he was tempted. He said, but I don't guess I really knew what the temptations were. And he said, but here's the funny part. He said, so Satan takes Jesus up to this pinnacle and says, you see all this? This could all be yours. And he said, I looked at my Bible and said, bruh, it is his. You see all this?
Yeah.
This is mine.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So we were talking, that same son and I, we were talking when he was in like third grade. He came home telling this story. They had watched the first half of Beauty and the Beast. And then I guess they went to lunch and they're getting ready to come back. And this girl that he was in class with, she said, if Miss So-and-so don't let us watch the second half of Beauty and the Beast, I'm going to climb up on this desk, I'm going to punch in her belly till her baby come out.
Oh, wow.
Because she was pregnant. And she said, and she going to say, you need to change your color. And she said, I'm going to look at her and say, change your color. So, since then, that's always kind of been a thing at the house is I'll tell like my youngest, I'll be like, son, mind your business.
Yeah, that's right.
Change your color.
That's right.
And then somehow or another he threw in there, how you doing?
That's with the chickens on the back porch.
Yeah, that's the same
right.
thing.
You know, I realized something last night. I was going to pick up the Munchkin from work. She works for Chick-fil-A, and I was going to pick her up from work. And I'm driving along. The moon was just big and
big moon
beautiful.
last night.
And it's not a full moon, but it's, you know. But I remembered, I don't know why, of all things, I don't know how old I was, but I was old enough that I should have been embarrassed to learn it. I thought a new moon was when it was full. But actually, a new moon is when there's no moon at all.
Yeah,
right.
That's when it started.
That's not very new. That's not very new. If you can't
old.
see it,
No, it's going to be new though. It's fixing to be new.
Figna be?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Figna, Figna, Figna.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, something. My youngest and I we were watching something on Facebook or TikTok or whatever, and it was this truck, and the guy was like, "Hey, no low offers. I know what I've got." And I'm looking at it, and he said, "Daddy, that truck has a lot of rust." And I was like, "Enough that it should have come with a tetanus shot." He looked at me. He's like, "What's that?" Yes, I had to explain tetanus shots to him. Hey, what is the worst whooping you ever got as a kid? Did you get whippings as a kid?
Oh God, yes. If I had $1 for every one, we got all three retired and live very wealthy. You know, one of my favorite stories on that is it's a pretty classic story. My dad had two coon dogs, Sage and Boomer, and they were champion coon dogs. He'd won trophies with them, and I may have been four or 5 years old. We were living in Monticello on Trotter Street, and the coon dogs would always get next to the gate, and they would jump as high as the fence, but never got over. Mm-hmm. Well, they were after a Persian cat that lived next door, and I would walk out there, and I'd take that gate, and I'd flip it open, and they'd hit that gate so hard it'd knock me back about 6 feet, and they'd tree that cat. Of course, I'm 4 or 5 years old, and I'm getting up the tree, and I'm taking that stick, and I'd whop that cat out of there. Of course, the cat's clawed up them champion coon dog. Well, Daddy come home, we held court in the bathroom.
Uh-huh.
And half the stuff he said to me I can't repeat, but most he said, "Son, there's two things in life. You don't be no liar, you ain't no thief, because if you'll steal, you'll lie, and if you lie, you'll steal." Now, he said, "Now, who let them dogs out?" And I said, "Yeah, I did it, And boy, he'd take that belt off, wearing me out. And this went on several times.
You didn't learn the first time?
No, I did not. No. And so one day I was sitting in the kitchen there, and I could see out the window, and I don't remember which one it was, Sage or Boomer, got an angle. And he jumped the fence and murdered that cat. I mean, there was hair went everywhere and stuff.
Really?
And this was an expensive cat. So, of course,
and not y'all's.
It wasn't ours. No, it was neighbors. And my dad, of course, was a Safeway store manager, very serious role. And, Mama didn't bother him at work till he got home, and it was time for me to hold court in the bathroom again. And this time I was innocent for once. Of course, all the other times I said I didn't do it either. And so we were sitting in there, and I kept telling Dad, I'm telling you, I let the dog out. And now that I look back at it at the age of 53, I'm like, well, the other dog was in there. How did that dog not get out? That would have been a good argument if I had a lawyer mentality.
Yeah.
And so finally, Dad kept telling me, "Boy, we ain't going to have no line. And I need you to tell me, Drew, let that dog out." And I smelt the food coming from the kitchen. And I jumped up and finally just bent over the toilet right there and told him I did it. And boy, he wore me out so dang bad. I went to bed with the convulsions. Oh yeah. I hope he gets hit by a truck. Yeah. And he's like, "Shut up before I give you something to cry about." And you're over there. And so,
welcome to Gen X.
Oh yeah, welcome to Gen X. And so there for years, I would tell my dad that I was going to get an apology out of him. And of course, when he fell ill and they brung in hospice, he was there in the living room and he was still kind of talking, and I was sitting in there. I'm trying to keep things upbeat. Mm-hmm. I said, "Daddy, I want to apologize for that dog back in the 70s. I did not let him out. I've got no reason to lie right now." He said, "Son, who broke the lamp in 1978 over in Frenchport over there?" He said, "You probably got away with something you did."
Right.
He said, "So there, that counts it, and we're even."
He still wasn't going to apologize.
He wasn't going to apologize for it, man. No,
because you didn't get your butt whipped for the lamp.
Oh yeah, I didn't get my butt whipped for the lamp. Probably I was throwing a football through the house if I remember right, and hit that lamp. I lied about it.
Me and Dad did that and broke a lamp, and we was both in trouble. Well, we broke the light, the ceiling light.
Right, that's right.
Ooh, we was both in trouble.
Well, not the worst whip. Matter of fact, I didn't get a whipping for it, but Daddy had an ashtray, and it looked like a horse head from the knight in a chest chest piece, right?
Yeah,
big old thing, and man, it stood this tall. Mm-hmm. And of course, then on top it had these 4 little bars in the
tray
where the ashtray sat, and for some reason, I looked at it and thought, man, that would make a perfect T-ball tee. What? And I took it out in the yard.
Because the pegs.
Yeah. I took it out in the yard and laid a baseball up on it. And I mean, I'm cranking balls off this thing. And then one missed swing later, I bust this thing into a gazillion pieces.
Oh.
Well, I just know, I can't put it back together. I can't just disappear it. You know, Daddy's going to notice it's not there. And then, so I called Daddy at work, which, again, you didn't do in that day.
You didn't do Gen X, yeah.
And I called him at work. Daddy, you know that ashtray shaped like a horse head? Yeah. I was using it as a baseball tee. He said, now hold on just a second. At what point did you look at it and decide that was a good idea? I said, about 10:30 this morning.
Yeah, well, and this is honesty.
And I said, Daddy, I wanted you to know before you got home because I don't want to lie to you about it. And the more I sit here and have to think about it, I'm probably going to end up lying to you about it. So I want to go ahead and just tell you now. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. We'll talk about it when I get home. Okay. He got home. He was like, man, it's just a thing. I am happier that you told me and didn't lie or try to lie about it. He said, that shows me you trust me.
You had one of them Andy Griffin Opie moments.
That's what I was just fixing to say. He didn't have a Safeway store manager as a daddy, I can tell you that.
No, I sure didn't.
That was like praying for the bees that didn't sting you, man. The good Lord was looking after you on that one.
Yeah, because let me tell you, the worst whipping I ever got was I called the Sunday school teacher a baboon.
Oh, yeah.
And no one would know it except my cousin, Lisa Shuffler, her little brother, Douglas, had to tell my grandparents after church. Mm-hmm. No one would have known.
And she probably just thought it was funny and was going to, or she was telling on you.
Well, no, Lisa wasn't, but her brother Douglas is the one who told on me, and my cousin. But anyways, he told on me. Yeah, I think he took great joy in telling on me. But I was with my grandparents. Nothing was said. Okay. Till Daddy got home that evening. Daddy had been either bowling or galling or hunting or something, but he come walking in the door that evening. And my grandparents told him, he's like, come with me. And it wasn't no, let me lead you in here. He drags me into the bedroom. And I still shudder to this day when I think about the sound that belt would make coming out of the loops.
When it comes out the belt loop, yes. Oh, yeah.
And he definitely, he hit me 4 times with that belt. And I had 4 bruises in a line on my backside from where he whipped me with that belt from calling the Sunday school teacher or the children's church leader a baboon. That was. How about you? I think I remembered because I think we've had this discussion. But go ahead.
Well, there's 2 that are ever present in my mind, and one of them was we lived in Morgan City, South Louisiana, and right at dusk, right at dark. Daddy was standing out on the front sidewalk in front of the house with our preacher. And if we lived there, I was over 6 because I started first grade there. So I had to be 6 or 7. And Mama came to the front door and she said, Troy Michael, it's time to come in. I said, Daddy, tell that stupid woman I ain't going in.
Oh.
In front of the preacher.
Oh, that's even worse.
So, the preacher knows that I didn't just hear that.
Yeah, right.
Someone I've repeated that.
Right.
So, yeah, that was one of the worst whippings I got from Ted. And then the other one was in 6th grade, and you can imagine how much of a smart aleck I would have been in 6th grade. So, Daddy played golf and played in tournaments, and he had a joke pencil that was real short, like a golf pencil, but it had an eraser this big.
Yeah, right.
And it said for people who make big mistakes. So I handed it to my 6th grade teacher. Well, she took great exception to it.
Oh.
And we were cutting up in class, and she sent me to the principal's office, and I said, and it wasn't at a time when
it done something.
If you turn that on vibrate, you would never have to hear it.
Yeah, I know. And it's my daughter keeps calling me, and she thinks she's funny. So it was at a time where the class was quiet, nobody was doing anything. She started calling names up, and it's all those little rascals. And I was the first one. She handed us a note, said, now take that to the principal. And I opened it up and said, these boys have been continuously disrupting my class. Of course, kids in that moment, I said, well, what'd we do? You know, we hadn't done nothing. Anyway, we go to the principal's office, and he gave us a chance. He said, either I can get a whipping, you give you a whipping, or I can call your parents. I said, I'll tell my parents. He goes, no, that ain't what I said. He said, I can give you a whipping, or I can call your parents. I said, okay, we'll call my parents. Because I knew Daddy was out in the Gulf on a rig. I said, well, Mama be light on me. So I go home, and Mom said, talk to the principal today. I said, yeah. I said, we got in trouble. She goes, well, I'm going to wait for your daddy to get home. So it was, 3 days.
That's a long time.
And I'd come home from school, and it's Daddy not home, and Daddy. And on that 4th day, Daddy got home, and we had in our den back then, it was windows all the way across the back. And so when I opened that front door, I saw his reflection, not reflection, but his silhouette looking out that back door, back windows. And he heard that front door close, and it was that sound. And he turned around, he's coming at me. I said, wait a minute, Daddy. Wait a minute. I said, let me tell you. He's lighting me up saying, tell me about it.
Yeah.
So that was the most, and it may not have been the worst one that I ever got, but it was the most heartbreaking one.
I think
it was scary.
I remember you telling a story one time, and I think maybe y'all had a camper or something, and you're standing in the doorway of the camper, and your daddy's standing outside.
No, he's standing in the camper.
He's in the camper, and you're outside.
I'm down on the ground.
And
I smarted off.
He smarted off something about like,
what's wrong with
What's wrong with him, or whatever. And said Ted most naturally yanked you up.
I'm 14. And he grabbed me by my shirt, and next thing I knew, I got pee in my pants, and I'm standing in front of him like this. He's holding my shirt and looking at me like, He was a strong man. He was 5'7", 5'8" on a good day.
Right.
But he had arms like Popeye working in the oil field. Scared the fool out of me. That was the scariest. I mean, I wet myself. We was at Six Flags.
Over Texas.
Yeah.
I was a little kid, and Mom and Daddy were still together, so I was 5 or under. And I got in trouble for something, and Daddy sent me to my room. And I'm crying, and I just get up under my bed so I can cry, you know, because it's the same kind of thing. Stop all that crying, or I'll come in there and give you something to cry about.
Yeah, that age group.
And next thing I know, I'm getting yanked out from under that bed and get my hams tore up.
For crying.
I had fallen asleep under the bed, and Daddy come in there to check on me. Didn't see me. They had the police out.
Oh, no.
By that point, they were looking for me all over the neighborhood.
Oh, no.
And Daddy found me under the bed and whipped me.
For being under the bed.
Yeah.
I told him later when I was an adult, I said, Daddy, he said, son, what were you, 3? He said, what was I, 21?
Yeah.
He's like, I was a dumb kid. I didn't know any better.
I didn't know any better. I was supposed to whip you.
I was just a young, dumb kid who was scared. And so I was watching earlier. I was watching a TikTok, and there's a lady, and she's like, riddle me something. And she said, everybody keeps talking about the food stamp money comes from taxpayers. Well, where did they get that money?
Where did who get that money?
The taxpayers. Where'd that taxpayer money come from?
What?
How did y'all get that?
What? Yeah.
And I'm like,
was she serious?
Yes. Oh, yeah, I've seen those before.
And I went to of course, I'm here for the comments, right?
Yeah.
And I go to the comments, and there was a guy that said, if you don't understand where taxpayer money comes from, it's a good thing we have it. We're going to be taking care of you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So Martha was big into couponing. And still does it pretty good. But at this point in time, years ago, she was into couponing. And she's going through Walmart, and so, I mean, she's knocking off a bunch. And the checker says, well, how come you get to do this?
Yeah.
I mean, a middle-aged white woman that's well-dressed and,
right.
How come you get to do this? She goes, I go online and find all the coupons, and I make them up. Put them in folders, and then I come and buy the stuff that's on there, and then I hand them to you, and you get them off, and it takes the money off, and I work for them.
That's right.
She goes,
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah.
My wife, one time we were in Brookshire's, and we left out of there, and I was like, that was $112. And she said, yeah. I said, we've got 2 buggies. And she's like, yeah. And that was her coupons. Man, we bought like $600 worth of groceries for $112.
Yeah.
And it's all because she knew how to
Yeah,
You got to do it. And buy those things.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
you may have to sacrifice. You may not get top brand whatever.
you may get Hunt's ketchup instead of Heinz.
Oh, Juicy Juice.
Yeah,
Right.
Instead of Texan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, let's see here. Tell you what, let's take one more quick break.
Okay.
We come back, we'll wrap this up. How about
All
that?
right.
All right, we'll be back with more of Off the Back Porch right after this.
Non-stop phone calls, registered mail, repossessions, or threats of lawsuits from creditors, and it seems like no one is willing to let you hit pause and just catch your breath. You need the help of Robert Rushing and the Rushing Law Firm. Bankruptcy is not the end. It can be a chance for a fresh start. The Rushing Law Firm goes to work for you, letting you hit that pause button and start over. Call the Rushing Law Firm today at 870-875-2940 or stop by the office at 725 Northwest Avenue in El Dorado. The Rushing Law Firm.
Experience, courage, common sense. All of these are traits we want in any elected position, but especially in the man we will pick as our next sheriff. Michael Fife hasn't just been in law enforcement for 30 plus years. He's the one who answers the call in the middle of the night, putting himself last and Union County first, looking folks in the eye, doing what's right, standing up for all of us. Vote for Michael Fife for Union County Sheriff.
Hey, and welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch here at our favorite place, Boomer, and that's Main Street Pizza.
Donnie and all the people here, all the workers here at Main Street Pizza do a great job of. I've been noticing that as we're sitting here and we do our show here each week, whenever that door, there's two doors to this business. When this door rings, there's someone comes around that corner real quick to make sure that they wait on people. The food's always good here. And what's the little pumpkin eggs, the alligator eggs?
Alligator eggs. Armadillo eggs, yes.
So
those are the best.
They are the best, yes.
Let me tell you a conversation I had with one of my grandkids this weekend. So we got on Paul Newman salad dressing somehow. She said, "Who's Paul Newman?" I said, "Well, honey," I said, he was a movie star and a race car driver, and he was kind of he was kind of the what's the guy's name from Missouri that's a wonderful actor now that's was in Matt. Not Matt.
You talking about Brad Pitt?
Brad Pitt. I said, he's kind of like the Brad Pitt of our era. She goes, "Who's Brad Pitt?" Oh. So my granddaughter, that's the next, the generation
Brad Pitt's
below.
the old guy.
Brad Pitt's her old guy.
Yeah. Hey, I've got one that can top you.
Okay.
Recently, the concert T-shirts came back.
Yes.
Okay,
from your 80s and
Yeah,
90s.
yeah.
People's wearing Bon Jovi.
Yeah, they want to
Kiss
and all that. So me and my wife are over in Hoots in McGee. And this group of young girls come in, and every one of them's got Def Leppard, Rat, Poison, the 80s big hair bands. And I turned to my wife. I said, "You see there?" I said, "This newer music ain't that good. They know what good music is and all this stuff." My wife said, "BJ, they can't name a song."
Yeah.
And I was going to prove my wife wrong. So we both get up from our table, and we're walking out of the restaurant. And I stopped. I said, "Girl," I said, "could ever noticing y'all's shirts and everything?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, Def Leppard, can you name one song?" And I thought, "Pour Some Sugar on Me" was what she was going to say. And she said, "No, but I think my grandparents can."
Grandparents can.
And she said, "You can get these off eBay for like $3. And I'm thinking, I used to pay $40 at a concert.
And had to go to the concert to get it.
And my wife said, "Just hold your head down, go ahead and walk out." I was like, "Daggum."
That is good.
That made you feel old there.
That is it.
Yeah.
There was a time in life, I was single and younger, and I thought, I might have a chance. I never think that anymore.
No.
Even with old women.
No.
I don't even think that. I'm like, nobody wants this. No, nobody wants this.
I find myself saying, you back in the day, girl, what's your name? Can I get your phone number or something like that? Now I'm walking up to kids or girls and kids. I said, "Now, who's your grandparents?"
Yeah.
Tell me I went to high school with them. Yeah.
They were a year behind me.
Yeah.
So if you remember being young and looking at men my age now, that still thought they had it, you'd say, "Oh my gosh, I hope I never become that."
Oh yeah.
So I never wanted to be that guy.
Right.
But Fruscia every now and then will get on me. She says, "Daddy, nah, you ain't got a chance."
Yeah.
So we went to the homeless shelter to eat the other day. It's what my children calls Hollis's.
Yeah.
Going down to eat at Hollis is like eating at the homeless shelter. Everybody just sitting at these big tables.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but it costs $17 or $21 or
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But we went down there the other day. Now I have these jogging pants I love to wear. Like I get up in the morning, I throw those on in a t-shirt when I'm piddling around the house or whatever, and go into my office. My office is at my house, and so like tomorrow I'll get up, I'll be editing this video, and I'll have on a pair of jogging pants and a t-shirt. And every now and then I'll leave the house in those jogging pants, and my wife she'll just make little subtle statements about, okay, you know.
Maybe take the house shoes off and put on.
Well, I don't do that.
No.
But the other day we're at Hollis's and we're standing in line waiting to be seated, and this guy walks through. Man, he remembers when black pepper was invented. He was that old.
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh, look, Papa's wearing his jogging pants." and they were about this much too short.
Hit home with you.
And I thought to myself, you know, I'm like you, I didn't have the foresight to think of it to say it real quick right then. But I thought to myself, yeah, but he bought those when you were born. Yeah. You were a baby when he bought those brand new.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Right.
But, man. Hey, some events we have coming up in the area and at Madhouse 101. On Thursday, January the 15th, Coyote Pine. Now, you might remember them. They used to be Micah Hughes and the Washita Revival.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah, I've seen pictures of them.
they're coming up Thursday the 15th at 7 o'clock, no cover charge. Ribbon cutting going on from the Chamber of Commerce on Monday, January the 12th, and that's going to be at Sims Mortuary, 105 Christian Road. And
What are they opening up new?
That's what I was wondering.
It's the new place.
I think so.
105 Christian Road is not where Sims was before.
Right.
Okay.
Saturday, January the 24th, Ty Blackburn at Madhouse 101 at 7 o'clock. And again, no cover charge. And then revival services at Marable Hill Church with Pastor David McClay from Summit Church in Valonia. Mm-hmm. Services are 6 p.m. each evening. That starts Sunday, January the 11th. That goes through Tuesday, the 13th.
And our church started last Sunday with 21 days of prayer. And so we encourage our members, of course, and then anybody that wants to pray every day for 21 days. And you can even go to the church and pray.
Hey, thing about that is you start doing that, you're liable to change your life.
Yeah. If you like the way it's going right now, all the troubles that you have and all that, just don't pray.
One of my kids, she used to say, my oldest, she'd say, "Why can't you love me for who I am?" I said, "Because I don't like who you are."
Jesus do. But
that's right.
The reason that got brought up, because you were part of that conversation.
Yeah.
I said, it's like Boomer used to look at me and say, "Quit trying to make me better."
I like me.
That's right.
Yeah, but the rest of us can't stand you.
That's okay. Because it's all about me.
That's right.
Yeah.
Eddie Tarpley, who managed our radio stations in Hot Springs for so many years, we're down in New Orleans, and I'm the DD for him and another guy, and we're walking along Bourbon Street, and with all that entails. And in this one T-shirt shop, right there in the front window, it said, "Jesus loves you. The rest of us think you're an asshole." And that was Eddie saying for me from that day forward. You hear me?
That about you?
All the time. Sandy,
Tarpley.
Jesus loves you, but the rest of us think you're an asshole.
Rest his soul.
Yeah, God rest his soul. He that night, incidentally, we were staying in Pass Christian, Mississippi, over at Bay St. Louis, and
Which isn't there anymore.
Well, the place we stayed,
The place you're staying at wasn't there, isn't
it's
there
gone.
anymore.
But they told me, hey, to get out, you go down here to the end of this street, hang a left, go down here, take a right, and then you're going to be right on the highway. That's all you need to know. Fantastic. So I did exactly what they told me to do, or at least I thought I did. And we ended up at the Murphy Oil Refinery in Chalmette.
Ooh.
Which, by the way, the road stops there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's at the end of the road.
Now, I can see past Christiane from there, but you can't get there from here. So,
Right.
If you went backwards, you could.
I have to come back out,
Yeah.
and I was just like, okay, if you can get me to Slidell, if you can get me to I-12, I can get there from there. So we probably took the long way around. Well, here's the thing. We're leaving at 5:30 the next morning to come back to El Dorado. It's like 2:30 now in the morning.
Oh, so y'all had already been out and you were going back to, okay, I got you.
Got to go back to Pass Christian.
Yeah.
Well, by the time we come back, go across Pontchartrain into Slidell and then I-12 and come back and then down and come back through Pass Christian, it's like 4 in the morning.
So you just stay up.
And no. But come over this little rise there and Well, here I am driving a vehicle that belongs to one of our other employees that has New Mexico plates. I'm in Mississippi with an Arkansas driver's license. Tell me how this is going to go.
Twist. And two drunk guys.
Yeah, and two drunk guys in the vehicle. So I pull over. Tarpley raises up from the back seat and said, man, I'm glad we stopped. I'm about to pee myself. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, don't get out.
Shut up. And the cop walks up to the window and said, man, can I get out? And he's like, why? I said, because I need you to know that smell you smell coming out of here is not from me. And he's like, yeah, step on out. So we go to the back of the car, and man, I'm watching this little Blazer that we're in. This thing is just moving. And I can tell Eddie's just in there holding himself, rocking back and forth. And he was like, everything okay there? I said, actually, when you pulled us over, he said, man, I'm glad you stopped because I need to pee. I'm about to pee myself. I said, I'm sure he's in there doing the pee-pee dance right now. And he's like, man, look, where are you going? And I told him, and he's like, you're almost there. And I was like, I realize that, but I don't think I'm going to get there before he pees in the back seat of that thing. And he was like, let me get out of here, and y'all do whatever you need to do. So that went a lot better than I thought it was going to go. Because all I'm thinking is man, here we are in Mississippi at 4 o'clock in the morning with two drunk guys and a guy with an Arkansas driver's license and New Mexico plates. This screams drug lord.
Oh, yeah.
I just knew we were going to end up on the local news. You'd be able to type in November 4th, Mississippi band.
Yeah, that's right.
Key lime pie, a weed eater, and a chicken.
Yeah, off the back porch. Nothing but net.
BJ, man, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you reaching out and looking forward to getting to know you.
Yes, sir.
And developing.
We've enjoyed it.
Thank you. I really had a good time.
We did figure out that we have some common friends, Tim Wilson.
Oh, Lord, yes.
And Tim, I sent Tim a picture of us during one of the commercial breaks, and he's like, that dude will get you in trouble. And I said, yeah, but that could be said about either man in that picture. Yeah. And he responded. Let's see what he said. We'll read it right here, Tim. Laugh out loud, he's a character. We've been best friends since elementary school.
Yep, elementary school. His mother was the first woman promoted in management in Safeway by my dad in 1977 or 78.
Is that right?
Yes.
Man, I had some family that worked for Safeway. Great company.
Yeah.
They treated them really, really well.
Oh, yeah, they did. Very good company.
And I remember there was a group that come in and tried to unionize them.
They did, yes.
Well, this particular store where my family worked, they turned it down. They're like, look, they treat us fine. We're not overworked. We're not underpaid. Matter of fact, Safeway was one of the best paying jobs for a grocery store job. One of the best paying jobs in town.
Yeah,
and they did, man. They treated the employees well.
Yeah, they were.
And the store director, store manager, he would put on a big Christmas party every year. And man, it was a bring all your family. Yeah. Extended family. And I mean, we'd show up. Yeah. We're rolling 4 vehicles deep up into this man's house, and every employee and kin folks. And
that's how me and Tim met, was a Safeway picnic before we started kindergarten.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and then they do a summer one too.
Yes.
So he'd do a Christmas party, and then he would do a summer picnic.
Oh, yeah.
Out on the grounds around his house. And man, they were a good company.
Yeah.
And, just hate that they went the way of the dodo bird, basically. And,
right.
Well,
now they're still, I think,
still
listed,
Safeway stores.
Yeah, well, I think they're still listed as one of the top grocers.
Is that right?
In the United States, but they're just not down here.
They're just regionally. They're not. There's not any around. Like kind of like Kroger. I mean, Is there still a Kroger in Magnolia?
No. The last one was in DeWitt, Arkansas, and it finally closed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're a Little Rock up.
Wow.
Yep.
Again, another company that I had family that had a cousin who was a buyer.
Right.
And man, back in the 80s, dude was knocking down like $90,000 a year.
Oh, yeah.
With Kroger. Yep. Back in the 80s, But
matter of fact, is it Anytime Fitness? Is that what that's called?
Planet
Fitness. That was my dad's first store he managed.
That was Safeway.
That was a Safeway.
Okay.
And actually, this Brookshire's here was a Safeway. There was 2 Safeways in El Dorado. Yes. Matter of fact, my dad's best friend, Ted Martin, had that store. And when they wanted to go to Camden, Daddy said the only way he'd make a deal if he took Ted with him. So him and Ted both went to Camden.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And Barbara, Tim's mother, had worked at Safeway since it was at the old Hardwick Furniture Store. I mean, even that far back. And she made manager, and she ended up finishing her career with Brookshire's.
Is that right?
They're in Camden.
Yeah.
Yep, sure did.
I'll say this for El Dorado. Anyone who builds a grocery store on the west side of town is going to make a killing.
Yeah.
Because there's not one. And for the longest time where T-Rex is, there was a sign it was going to be a Super One.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And But then that never came to pass, and then
that
Donnie went over.
That was before all that was there.
Yeah, I mean the only thing that was there
before
was
the McDonald's was there.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
The only thing that was over there, even on that side of town, was Jeff Teague's car lot. He only had one back then over there, and he was still in the old Russell Marx Ford building over on this side of town.
And when I came to town, there was nothing north of Larry's Pizza.
Yeah,
there was.
It was woods.
It was music store behind it, and then nothing back there.
Yeah,
woods.
Woods.
Yep.
I remember when there were, and again, I've only been here since 2002. So these things, I remember them closing down about the time I moved here. But there was a video store over behind the mall. Like you have the mall and you have the big parking lot behind it where the soccer field is. There was a video store over there
on the backside of it.
Yeah. And I'm trying to remember.
There was video stores all over town at one
time.
time.
That time, yeah.
Yeah, West Coast Video, man. I was big at West Coast.
The one where the Salvation Army thing is, the store next to the AT&T, next to the
Verizon store.
Verizon store. That was a video store at one time.
Yeah.
A hometown one. And then at the new shopping center, before you get to the mall, that little shopping center, the one on the corner right there was a video store, which is now a clothing store or a game store.
Game
or something.
store, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Where Caesar's Pizza is in that.
Yeah, so that
center.
was a video game store.
And it was a video store at one time.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we had a Hollywood video too, didn't we?
Yes, it was. It was in the strip mall heading towards where Walmart's at now, right there.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yes,
that's where Hollywood Video was there,
Video,
and then it became a GameStop.
GameStop. Yes.
And now it's Factory Connection.
Yeah, Factory.
And it's funny because yesterday we're driving by and the Munchkin looks at me. She says, "I want to go in that store. I want to go in there." I want
Factory Connection.
Yeah, she wants to go in Factory Connection and look around. But man, thank you again so much for being
Thank
with us.
y'all.
And we'd love to have you back.
Yeah, we need to do that again sometime.
He
won't come back.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame him.
These two idiots, they get bad advice, man.
But I'm just thinking maybe we could do the next
fishing
time.
Trip?
The next time you're doing a podcast, we could do it from the boat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If we get the signal out there,
Oh, we can get a signal.
We can make it happen.
Yeah. So, thank all of you. Thank all of you for tuning in. We do appreciate you. We will. Let's see. I almost was going to name who's going to be here next week. Yes, Chris Plants, our FBI
Chris
buddy.
Plants,
he's going to come back, and
you want to watch that one. This guy got a great story.
He's got a great story. He was working for the FBI 20 plus years and made supervisor, and then was fired because he wouldn't hang up some LGBTQ posters.
Wouldn't take his Bible off his desk.
Wouldn't take his Bible off his desk.
Wouldn't hire a homosexual.
Well, not just homosexual, but a trans.
Right.
Okay.
And he has a better way of telling it, but basically he said, I told my boss, look, I understand you don't understand why. He said, when we kick that door open, you have a split second, maybe 0.05 seconds to make a decision. And I don't want the person backing me up who's had all their life instinct still can't figure out if they're a boy or a girl.
That's right.
He said, but anyway, they fired him, and he's been trying to, if they will just reinstate him long enough.
He had 19 years or whatever.
Whatever it was.
Almost retirement.
He's like just weeks away from being able to have long enough to draw his pension in his retirement. And so he's been working, we've been working some back channels with some congressional people trying to help him get reinstated long enough to just retire,
right?
And get what's owed to him, what's coming to him. But he's going to come next week. He was also really big into. This guy was so good at churning drug dealers that they actually, the head of the cartel, the Mexican cartel, who was in prison in Colorado, in a supermax, sent out instructions to his people. This is where this guy lives. Here's his wife. Here's his children. Here's how you were going to kill him. And it was such a credible threat that the FBI picked him up in the middle of the day and just moved him and got him out of there. He was so successful at turning drug dealers into rats. And then he went into child trafficking. And, So he's going to come and talk about internet safety, especially when it comes to your kids.
Yeah.
And how to, some things you can do. And so we're looking forward to having him. A couple of weeks, I believe we have Madison Murphy is going to be on with us, and I'm excited about that. We have a local author who's going to be coming up in a few weeks as well. Dr. Steve Smart is going to be coming on in a couple of weeks. So we've got a pretty good lineup of people coming on the show, and excited to have them. And equally grateful that you came to be with us today.
Thank you.
So again, thank y'all so much. Until next week, this has been Off the Back Porch. God bless.
With a history of being the voices you trust, this is Off the Back Porch.